To ensure relatives and friends could all attend the banquet, Zhang Lan specially scheduled it for a rest day. Early in the morning, right after breakfast, she began preparing for the lavish lunch. At Zhang Lan's request, Zhou Yuan pitched in with odd jobs alongside her. Besides the two of them, several neighbors were also there. They lived close by and often chatted with one another. It was normal for every household to call on others for help when something came up. Since they would get a meal out of lending a hand, the neighbors were happy to come. Lin Qingyang did not have to go to work that day, yet he stayed indoors doing nothing but playing video games. Zhou Yuan naturally felt some resentment. Whenever something happened at home, Zhang Lan would only ask her, the daughter-in-law, to work and never make her son lift a finger. She bottled up many bitter remarks and chose not to voice them. There were outsiders around and relatives would arrive soon. Starting an argument over such matters would make them look foolish in front of others. Around 10 o'clock, some relatives who lived nearby started to show up. Zhang Lan paused her work to greet the new arrivals and usher them inside to sit down. Before they even stepped through the door, she called inward, "Qingyang, your maternal uncle and aunt are here. Come greet them and pour them some water." Coming, Lin Qingyang replied, yet he did not put down his phone right away. He only slowly left his room once he had finished his game round. This banquet was held for his own son's first birthday, but from early morning onward, he acted as if he were merely an outsider. As more relatives arrived and gathered to talk, certain matters inevitably came to light. For instance, Zhang Lan had a son and a daughter, yet Lin Qingxue, the aunt, and her husband had not turned up for her nephew's first birthday feast. As the group chatted, Zhang Lan walked into the room carrying small snacks for the relatives' children. Someone present asked out of curiosity, "Hey, why aren't Qingxue and her husband here? A first birthday celebration is no small event. Wouldn't the aunt and uncle come?" At the mention of this, Zhang Lan's expression darkened. Lin Qingxue had left without saying a word and could not be reached, something that had infuriated Zhang Lan for a long time. Even after all this time, there had been no news of her daughter. Still, surrounded by so many relatives, she could not vent her anger openly, as that would ruin everyone's mood. She just gave birth not long ago and hasn't been feeling well, so she's resting at home. She called me and told me about it, so I told her not to come. Her health comes first. Oh, I see. What exactly is wrong with her? Has she seen a doctor? Zhang Lan was caught off guard, but she hastily made up an answer. I'm not entirely sure. She probably didn't go into detail over the phone, so I wouldn't worry. It seems her body sustained some damage after childbirth, and the doctor told her to stay in bed and rest. Have you gone to visit her? Zhang Lan shook her head helplessly. No. I've been run off my feet lately looking after my grandson, so I haven't had the chance. Once this birthday banquet is over, I'll find time to go over to their place. After a short exchange, Zhang Lan wanted to drop the subject, fearing she might slip up if she said too much. Please make yourselves at home and have some snacks. The dishes are being cooked, and we'll start the feast before 12 o'clock. With those polite words, she quickly left the main hall to check on the kitchen. She had not thought about the matter until now, but the question left her feeling gloomy. Where on earth had that ungrateful daughter gone? She could quarrel with her husband's family all she wanted, but there was no reason to cut off contact with her own relatives. The bar at night buzzed with activity, lit up by colorful lights. When Jiang Baiwei heard that Qi Yan had arrived, she headed straight for his private room and greeted him warmly. Young Master Qi, you've finally come. You must have been very busy lately. I have been. There are many ongoing projects keeping me at the office. I finally got some free time today, so I came here to unwind. Jiang Baiwei sat beside him. Would you like to head back to my place tonight? Sure, Qi Yan agreed without hesitation. He had known Jiang Baiwei for quite some time and enjoyed her personality. Most people who came to places like this were out for personal gain, yet women working here varied. Some craved money badly while pretending to be aloof. Jiang Baiwei was different. She put on no pretenses and said exactly what she wanted, which made things easy for Qi Yan. They spent some time at the bar before driving away together. They enjoyed a pleasant evening in each other's company. The next morning, when Jiang Baiwei opened her eyes, Qi Yan was already standing nearby buttoning his shirt. Young Master Qi, are you leaving already? I still have plenty of work to attend to. I can't stay here long. He placed a bank card on the nightstand. Go buy yourself a car. Jiang Baiwei understood exactly what he meant. He intended to gift her a vehicle. Thank you, young Master Qi. She already owned several cars, but there was no sense turning down a free gift. She knew Qian was generous, and the card would hold a substantial sum. Once he left, Jiang Baiwei took her time getting up. After washing, she grabbed the card and headed out to look at cars. She would not turn down young Master Qi's kindness. Ever since her full body massage, Lin Qingxue had felt wonderful, with every muscle in her body relaxed. She wanted another massage today, but did not feel like going out, so she paid for a therapist to come to her home. She was enjoying the treatment in her room when the system prompt sounded. Ding! Jiang Baiwei has purchased a Porsche Panamera. Congratulations, host. You have received 10 Porsche Panameras. Joy surged through Lin Qingxue, and she let out a small gasp. Thinking she had pressed too hard, the massage therapist stopped immediately and apologized. I'm so sorry. Did the pressure hurt you? Lin Qingxue shook her head. No, I just thought of something. The pressure is perfect. Please keep going. Very well. Lin Qingxue was overjoyed. She had just received 10 houses, and now 10 luxury cars, and they were no cheap models either. Since moving into this apartment, she had not gone out very often, so she had not really needed a car. Still, she would not reject what the system gave her. Haicheng had convenient public transport, but having a car brought its own advantages. She could go anywhere whenever she liked, with a private space all to herself. However, Lin Qingxue did not have a driving license yet. She would need to get one before she could drive. In her previous life, she had been busy with work and then marriage and had never prioritized learning to drive. Now in her 20s, she still could not operate a vehicle. The massage lasted roughly 40 to 50 minutes. Once it was over, the therapist left her home. With a thought, Lin Qingxue opened her system panel and saw the 10 new cars listed. She did not need that many. System, keep 2 of these Panameras. Convert the remaining 8 into cash. Understood, host. Conversion complete. 12.98 million yuan has been transferred to your account. Please check. Another windfall of millions arrived, more money than she had ever dared to dream of. When Zhu Sha met Zhuang Wen again and brought up Zhao Hongkai, she noticed Zhuang Wen was far less enthusiastic about him than before. What's wrong? Haven't you been going on dates with him? Or did something upset you? Zhuang Wen recalled details from her recent interactions with Zhao Hongkai. Something just feels off. In what way? When we first decided to see each other, our first date went well. He paid without hesitation when we went shopping. But for our later meetings, he always picked the venues, mostly free parks or scenic spots. Afterwards, he would buy me an inexpensive drink and nothing else. I wonder if he chooses those places on purpose to avoid spending money. Zhu Sha clicked her tongue. That is very possible. Some men hate spending money on women yet do not want to appear cheap, so they pick low-cost venues before you get the chance to suggest anything else. From what you are saying, Zhao Hongkai might well be that sort of man. What should I do then? Bringing up a breakup over this would make it look as though I only care about his money. I do not ask for much. I just think it is reasonable for a boyfriend to give his girlfriend gifts while dating. It is completely reasonable. A man treats his girlfriend best before marriage. If he will not spend on you now, do not expect him to treat you better after marriage. If you feel awkward breaking up right away, spend another 1 or 2 weeks with him and test his attitude toward money. If he really is stingy, find an excuse to end things. You can definitely find someone else. Zhuang Wen thought it over and nodded. All right, I will keep seeing him for now. Zhuang Wen wandered through a mobile phone shop, looking carefully at the display cabinets. Her current phone was 2 years old, and many new models had come out. She wanted to upgrade. She also planned to use this opportunity to test Zhao Hongkai. If he refused to pay for a new phone, she would not want to continue the relationship. Zhao Hongkai followed beside her, inwardly reluctant to be in the shop. He had wanted to go somewhere simple for drinks as usual, but Zhuang Wen had insisted on coming here, leaving him with no choice but to tag along. Zhuang Wen lingered by the cabinet displaying the latest flagship models. Zhao Hongkai grew nervous. Those phones cost 7 or 8,000 yuan, and some even exceeded 10,000. Zhuang Wen stopped and pointed at one unit. This one looks nice. The shop assistant smiled. This is our brand new flagship released this month. You may try the demo unit over here. Zhuang Wen tapped on the screen of the demo phone. It's great. I love the appearance. Zhao Hongkai stared uneasily. That single phone cost more than 10,000 yuan. He had never owned such an expensive device himself. His own phones usually cost only 2 or 3,000 yuan, and Chen Guiyuan's had been even cheaper, only a few hundred. The thought of buying such an expensive phone for a girlfriend filled him with immense reluctance. Zhuang Wen could barely tear her eyes away. She held out the demo phone toward him. What do you think? He could not openly say he disliked it, or Zhuang Wen would grow upset. It does look good, but practicality matters most for phones. New releases are always priced highest when they first launch. Prices will drop significantly in a month or two. I do not think this is a good time to buy. He thought his words were tactful, yet Zhuang Wen's expression soured. Are you unwilling to buy this for me? Of course not. I am only telling the truth. There is no need for something so expensive. Phones costing 2,000 or 3,000 work perfectly fine. Zhuang Wen had already been testing him, and his reaction disappointed her deeply. Fine, forget it if you will not buy it. She turned and walked straight out of the shop. Zhao Hengkai hurried after her. Why are you suddenly angry? Is it my fault for being upset? You are just too stingy. We are dating, yet you refuse to buy me even a simple gift. I do not believe you are serious about being with me. I am serious about us, that is why I said what I did. We can wait for the price drop. The phone will be exactly the same. Why pay so much more now? That money could buy several phones. I do not want to hear this. Zhuang Wen's brows drew together. Zhao Hengkai, let us break up. I do not want to date anymore. Zhuang Wen spoke firmly and strode out of the shop before Zhao Hengkai could reply. He stood rooted to the spot, seething. He was unsure whether to stay or chase her down. How would he calm her down if he ran after her? Would he really have to buy that 10,000 yuan phone? If he let her leave, all the money he had spent on her recently would go to waste. His pride was wounded that she would be the one to end their relationship before he could. After long hesitation, he returned to the counter and purchased the flagship phone on his credit card. Carrying the phone box, he rushed in the direction Zhuang Wen had gone. She was walking fast, but he caught up quickly, blocking her path and holding out the box. Do not get upset over such a small thing. Look, I bought it for you. Even with the gift in front of her, Zhuang Wen's mood remained poor. You only bought it because I got mad, not because you genuinely wanted to. Zhao Hengkai tried to soothe her. That is not true. Why would you think that? Let us find somewhere to sit and talk this through, okay? When she stayed silent, he gently nudged her arm. Please? Come on. Seeing her expression soften slightly, he took her hand and led her to a nearby drink shop. He ordered food and beverages for her and pushed the phone box toward her. I never meant to hold back on buying you a gift. I felt honored when you agreed to date me. I am truly happy to be with you. I only thought newly released phones are overpriced right now and that we could save money by waiting. I want us to build a life together and save money for our future home and children. Zhuang Wen could understand his point of view. Real life was not a romance novel, and most people lived ordinary lives. She had hoped they could build a good future together if he was a decent man. I understand you are thinking about our future, but your attitude just now hurt my feelings. I am so sorry, Zhao Hengkai apologized repeatedly. I have little dating experience, and I am bad with words. It was my mistake. I failed to explain myself properly. I really am not unwilling to spend on you. If we stay together, I will hand all my earnings over to you to manage. I barely spend money on myself, only ordering takeout at work. You can give me pocket money as you see fit. He sounded sincere and patient. Zhuang Wen was swayed. Remember what you said. Do not go back on your word later and refuse to hand over your salary. I promise I will not. A man keeps his word. I hardly spend money except for takeout and casual meals outside. He did not mention nights out with his friends. Zhuang Wen ate a bite of dessert and sipped her drink, feeling her temper fade. He offering control over his finances, which counted as sincerity. Perhaps some men were simply overly practical and thought waiting for a price cut was sensible. Maybe she had overreacted. Zhao Hengkai meanwhile planned their next activity. He could not keep shopping with her, or he would end up spending more money. Going to the cinema would occupy hours, and movie tickets were inexpensive. Wenwen, how about we watch a movie? Several new films have come out with good reviews. Shall we go? Zhuang Wen nodded without thinking. Sure. Once I finish eating, we can go. Great. Ding. Zhao Hengkai has purchased the brand new flagship mobile phone. Congratulations, host. You have received 10 units of this flagship phone. Ding. Zhao Hengkai has ordered 1 mango pancake and 1 passion fruit orange drink. Congratulations, host. You have received 10 mango pancakes and 10 passion fruit orange drinks. Ding. Zhao Hengkai has bought 2 movie tickets. Congratulations, host. You have received 20 movie tickets. Ding. Zhao Hengkai has purchased a double-person barbecue buffet set meal. Congratulations, host. You have received 10 double-person barbecue buffet set meals. A string of system notifications played while Lin Qingxue watched a movie at home. Her high-rise apartment had a private home theater with excellent sound and atmosphere. The movie audio partially drowned out the system voice, yet she could clearly see all the newly acquired items on her system panel. Seeing the movie tickets and barbecue packages, Lin Qingxue knew the scoundrel Zhao Hongkai was out on a date with some woman. She mentally summoned one of the new flagship phones. Her old device was several years old. Even after becoming wealthy in the city, she had not bothered replacing it, as she only used it for payments and online shopping. Now that a new phone was available, she decided to use it. She looked up its price online and found this flagship model retailed for over 10,000 yuan. Zhao Hongkai was evidently willing to spend quite a lot on this girl. Lin Qingxue knew full well he would never have bought something so costly for her back when they were married. The movie playing on the screen ahead kept going. Lin Qingxue was not looking at it, yet she could hear the audio clearly. While listening, she unboxed her new phone. After turning it on, she finished the basic setup, installed several essential apps, and transferred all the photos of her daughter from her old phone. She also added Jiang Baiwei's contact information to her address book. There was nothing else to do. Lin Qingxue took a mango crepe and a glass of passion fruit orange drink out of her system. The fruit platter she had prepared for the movie was already finished, so the dessert and drink came just in time. When Zhao Hongkai got home in the evening, he dropped his pretense and could not hold back from swearing several times. Chen Guiyuan had just finished dinner and was about to ask how things had gone between the two of them when her son stormed in cursing. What happened out there to make you so upset? I bought her a phone, cost over 10,000 yuan. We ate out and watched a movie too. At the mention of that figure, Chen Guiyuan's temper flared at once. What did I tell you before? I warned you, if she is the kind of girl who only chases money, you ought to stop seeing her. Why on earth did you buy her a phone worth more than 10,000? Chen Guiyuan felt deeply wronged. She pulled out her old phone and slapped it down on the table. I bought mine for 500 or 600 yuan years ago. I have been using it ever since. I cannot bring myself to spend money on a new one and just make do with this. And you go and buy her a phone for over 10,000. What kind of phone is that expensive? Can't one costing 1 or 2,000 work just fine? Zhao Hongkai frowned. Do you think I wanted to get her such an expensive one? She dragged me straight into the phone store and insisted on looking at the newest models, and new models cost a fortune. I suggested we wait for the price to drop before coming back, but she got upset and walked off. What was I supposed to do? Let her walk away. If she is that kind of money-hungry woman, what do you want her for? How much money do you plan to keep pouring on her? I have thought about that. I bought this phone on credit cards. Later on, if I have to borrow money for things like the traditional gold wedding ornaments, I will make her pay those debts after we get married. Chen Guiyuan fell silent, seemingly caught off guard by this line of thinking. Is that what you were planning? What else? Right after we met through matchmaking, she dragged me shopping at the mall, and I spent several thousand on her. If I just break things off like this, I cannot let all that money go to waste. From now on, whenever she asks me to buy her something, I will get it for her. If she refuses to marry me later, I will sue her and make her pay back all those expenses. Chen Guiyuan still looked worried. Will that really work? What if we cannot get the money back? She agreed to go on a matchmaking date, so obviously she is aiming for marriage. Why would I spend money on her if we are not getting married? Our family is not wealthy. I have already maxed out credit cards and borrowed money buying her things. If she refuses to pay us back, our household will end up in dire straits. I am certain we can get the money back, mother, rest assured. If she dares to refuse, I will go to her family's place and tell everyone what she has done. Let us see which man will want her after that. Suit yourself. But do not drag this on forever. You need to hurry. Normally, once two people see no issues with each other after a matchmaking date, they ought to get engaged. You two are taking your time dating. How long is this going to drag on? The longer it goes, the higher the risk of something going wrong. Chen Guiyuan reminded him. Her wish to bring a daughter-in-law home quickly was so that the new wife would handle household chores and give birth to a baby boy for the family. Not so that she could enjoy the favors her son showered on her. The thought of Zhao Hongkai currying favor with this girl, coaxing her constantly and wasting time and money on her made Chen Guiyuan uncomfortable. I know. But it is not entirely on me. I would be fine getting engaged the day after our matchmaking meeting. The problem is she refuses to settle down so fast. But do not worry, I will speed things up. I do not want to keep playing this game with her either. It is so boring. Good to hear that. Lin Qingxue was in high spirits the moment she walked out of the exam venue after finishing her subject, one driving test. The questions had been straightforward, and she had passed with full marks. She had not spent much time preparing. She just brushed practice questions on her phone, took mock tests, consistently scored well, and soon booked the official exam. On the ride home, sitting in the back seat, Lin Qingxue called the driving school to book driving practice sessions. The car pulled up outside a shopping mall. Lin Qingxue got out and walked into a maternity and baby store. She browsed around and bought plenty of tiny clothes for her child, along with food and toys. She could have asked the family nanny to handle these errands, but as a mother, shopping for things her baby needed filled her with joy. Carrying several shopping bags, Lin Qingxue hailed another taxi and headed home. As soon as she stepped through the door, she heard her daughter's giggles. On the soft carpet, Lin Xia was clutching a small toy while the nanny played with her. Lin Qingxue set down her bags and knelt beside her child. "What are you playing with, Xia? Let mommy see." The little girl could not speak yet. In response to being spoken to, she only babbled and waved her short little arms, still gripping a plush doll. During her trip to the maternity and baby shop, Lin Qingxue had bought formula milk as well as toys for her daughter. She pulled the new purchases out of the bags and held them out in front of the child. "Look, mommy just bought these for you." Spotting the fluffy teddy bear doll, Lin Xia crawled across the carpet toward Lin Qingxue and reached out to grab it. Lin Qingxue gently stroked her daughter's head. "Do you like it? When you grow a little bigger, mommy will take you out so you can pick your own toys." The baby was still too young for outings. Whenever they needed supplies, Lin Qingxue would take items out of her system, go shopping herself, or delegate tasks to the nanny. Lin Xia tugged at the teddy bear several times and tried to put it into her mouth. Lin Qingxue and the nanny both reached out at almost the same time and moved the plush toy away. The nanny spoke softly to soothe her. "You cannot eat that, sweetie. Are you hungry? If you are, I will make your milk bottle." Woo, Lin Xia babbled, saliva dripping from her mouth. The nanny wiped her mouth with a tissue, walked over to the milk making machine, prepared a bottle of formula, and held it out to Lin Xia. At the sight of food, Lin Xia crawled a short distance across the carpet, hugged the bottle, and began drinking. Watching her daughter drink milk so obediently, Lin Qingxue thought she was utterly adorable. The day after Lin Xiao's first birthday banquet, Lin Qingyang went back to work at the factory as usual. He worked outside all day and came home for dinner in the evening. He did nothing else in his free time, only slouched on the sofa holding his phone and playing video games. After clearing the dinner table, Zhang Lan sat down on the sofa. "It has been so long. Is there still no news about your sister?" "No," Lin Qingyang replied dismissively. "Is there really no news, or have you not even bothered to ask? Have you contacted your brother-in-law?" "I have not contacted him." "And you just say there is no news without checking? You ought to at least ask." "Ugh, Mom, why do you keep worrying over nothing? If he had any news, he would have messaged us. He would not keep it to himself." "That is not guaranteed. Our two families were never particularly close. If you do not reach out, why would he volunteer information? She grew up under my care, and then she just left like this. It is so unfair to us. You can say all that, but my sister cannot hear you. Since she chose to leave, she will not care about any of this. She probably does not even think of you as her mother anymore." Hearing her son's words, Zhang Lan's temper rose, and she grumbled and cursed under her breath. Lin Qingyang kept playing his game. Only after he finished one round did he send a message to Zhao Hongkai. Zhao Hongkai did not reply right away. Instead of waiting on the chat screen, Lin Qingyang started another game. Some 20 or 30 minutes later, a reply popped up, nothing. Lin Qingyang kept his eyes glued to his screen and relayed the answer to Zhang Lan. "Mom, I just asked him. He said there is no news." Zhou Yuan was also in the living room, though she had not joined their conversation. After putting her baby to sleep, she came out to bring up a plan. "Let us set aside whether my sister-in-law comes back or not. I plan to find a job." "Mom, could you look after the baby at home from now on?" Zhang Lan was already in a bad mood. "Why should I look after him? He is your son. But he is also your grandson. It is a mother's responsibility to raise her child. At my age, cooking meals for the household is already more than enough. Do not act like you are cooking only for us. You eat those meals too. When Lin Qingyang and I first got married, you kept going on and on about wanting a grandson. Now that we have one, you refuse to take care of him. If I do not work, what can we survive on with only Lin Qingyang's salary? These words displeased both Zhang Lan and Lin Qingyang, as if she were mocking how little Lin Qingyang earned. Mid-game, Lin Qingyang glanced over at her. Are you complaining about my salary? How much do you think you could earn out there? No matter how much it is, working brings an extra income. Something is better than nothing. And with more work experience, my pay will go up over time. If I stay home caring for the baby every day, no employer will want to hire me later. No matter what she said, Zhang Lan was reluctant to take care of the baby full time. She feared the exhaustion. She was fond of her grandson, but she wanted someone else to handle all the hard work. She only wished to play with him happily now and then, not act like a live in nanny running after the child all day long. Lin Qingyang acted as if none of this concerned him, sitting on the sofa scrolling on his phone while mother-in-law and daughter-in-law argued over childcare. Growing frustrated, Zhou Yuan adjusted her approach. She explained that if she stayed unemployed, Lin Qingyang would bear the full financial burden of the family. Working would ease the strain on her husband. This line of reasoning softened Zhang Lan's stance. Seizing the opportunity, Zhou Yuan kept persuading her. Mom, I am not looking for a job just for myself. Easing Lin Qingyang's burden is one big reason. I also want our whole family to live better. And for our son, I hope he can go to good schools and have a bright future. All of that costs money, do you see? If our family gets richer, if we can afford a bigger house or raise our son to be outstanding, you, as his grandmother, will also hold your head high in front of others. Zhang Lan fell silent, turning these thoughts over in her mind. Zhou Yuan was right. Living on Lin Qingyang's salary alone was tough. Job opportunities were scarce in this small town. With no higher education or specialized skills, Lin Qingyang was fortunate just to hold on to his factory job. He earned only a few thousand yuan each month, barely covering food and daily necessities for the whole family, leaving almost no savings. A second income would make a real difference. Since Zhou Yuan would still live with Lin Qingyang, whatever she earned would benefit the household. Greater family prosperity would bring advantages to Zhang Lan as well. Naturally, she hoped her grandson would attend good kindergartens and achieve great things in life. If he became successful, the whole family would be proud. Besides, the boy had turned one. He could walk little by little and learn to feed himself. He would grow easier to look after and would not need constant supervision. After Zhou Yuan's persistent persuasion and her own careful consideration, Zhang Lan finally nodded. Very well. Go ahead and look for work. Try not to take a job with a fixed low salary. Find something with a base pay plus commission, so you have motivation and a chance to make more money each month. I know that. I will have to see what openings are actually out there, Zhou Yuan said. She hoped for high earnings, yet reality might not give her many choices. Like Lin Qingyang, she had little formal education. She had once worked as a shop assistant for low pay before quitting her job after marriage and childbirth. Every day she watched Lin Qingyang come home from work, immediately pick up his phone to play games, ignore the baby, skip household chores, and make no effort to learn new skills or boost the family income. She could not count on him for the rest of her life. She had to fight for herself and for her child. Zhou Yuan spent several days searching and finally landed a position as a shop assistant in a clothing store. The pay structure was base salary plus commission. The more clothes she sold, the higher her commission would be. Zhou Yuan had no guarantee of how much she could make, but at least there was room for growth. Fixed salary jobs offered no such possibility. She had been excited about getting hired, yet within a few days at work, she realized the workplace was nothing like what she had imagined. The actual sales work itself was tiring enough, but she also had to navigate complicated interpersonal dynamics among fellow shop assistants, which gave her headaches. One morning she arrived relatively early. Several other shop assistants were already present. A little later, Lin Yao walked into the shop carrying an elegant small leather handbag and wearing high-heeled shoes. The other female shop assistants immediately noticed her new bag. Hey, Yao Yao, did you get a new handbag recently? What brand is this? It looks really nice. Wow, Gucci. That must be expensive. Hearing their comments, Lin Yao lifted her slender eyebrows with obvious pride. You have a good eye to spot the brand right away. I saw the logo. Tell us, how much was it? It must have cost 5 figures. Of course. This bag cost 120,000 yuan. Goodness, that is so expensive. But it lives up to the brand name. Luxury brands never come cheap. I envy you so much, Yao Yao. I could never bring myself to spend that much on a single bag. Zhou Yuan had also just arrived. Lin Yao glanced at the bag Zhou Yuan had set down and stepped closer. What brand is your bag? Zhou Yuan felt self-conscious and spoke without confidence. It is not a famous brand, just something ordinary. I can tell. If you ask me, women ought to treat themselves better. Do not hold back from buying nice things for yourself. Wearing luxury items boosts your confidence and changes how people see you. Zhou Yuan's cheeks burned with embarrassment. Before taking this job, she had never expected how much the shop assistants competed with one another. They compared clothing, cosmetics, handbags, and even their boyfriends and husbands. Within a few days, Zhou Yuan could tell Lin Yao dressed better than everyone else. She always looked stylish, dressed head to toe in designer goods. Noticing Zhou Yuan's awkward look, Lin Yao smiled faintly, picked up her handbag, and walked toward the back changing room to swap her shoes. The store did not enforce strict dress codes, yet high heels could be uncomfortable for long shifts, so she kept an extra pair for changing. Zhou Yuan's face stayed hot long after that exchange. Lin Yao's glance had stung her. She was certain Lin Yao looked down on her for her cheap belongings. The clothing store did not provide lunch, but the shop assistants usually ordered takeout together and ate side by side. Over lunch, Lin Yao and the others chatted about various topics. Yao Yao, is that new bracelet on your wrist? Yes. Can you guess the brand? Is it Cartier? It sure is. I knew it. Nothing you own is cheap. Between your clothes, shoes, bags, and jewelry, you must have spent hundreds of thousands total. Pleased by the remark, Lin Yao pretended to be modest. Oh, it is not that much. It definitely is. Your watch also looks amazing. It must be worth tens of thousands. Right. My boyfriend gave it to me. I do not really care for fancy accessories. They are not very practical, but he insisted on gifting them to me. What could I do? Wow, your boyfriend treats you so well. It is okay. When choosing a man, you have to pick one who will spend money on you. What good is a partner who will not spoil you? Exactly. For the Qixi festival coming up, I bet he will get you another gift. Absolutely. I have already dropped hints that I want a Dior cosmetic set. Zhou Yuan ate her meal silently, feeling miserable listening to all this. These young women knew how to pick partners who treated them well. What about herself? She had ended up with Lin Qingyang. All he ever did was play video games. He had never given her gifts since their marriage. Not for Qixi Festival, not for Valentine's Day, and he could barely remember her birthday. If she kept dwelling on these slights, their marriage would fall apart. Lost in her own thoughts as she ate, she suddenly heard Lin Yao address her. Hey Yuan. I heard you are married, is that true? Zhou Yuan was the new hire. Her basic personal information had spread among the staff. She forced an awkward smile and nodded. Yes, I am married. What line of work is your husband in? Surrounded by colleagues showing off their partners and wealth, Zhou Yuan was too ashamed to tell the truth. Admitting Lin Qingyang was an ordinary factory worker earning only a few thousand yuan per month would humiliate her. So she made up a story. He works as a department manager at a company. A manager? Then he must earn a decent income. It is okay. He could support our whole family on his salary alone. I stayed home for a long time after having my baby, and I just did not want to remain idle, so I took this job. Oh? You are so young and already have a child. Yes. Having children early is good for physical recovery. Waiting until your 30s or 40s carries higher risks. That makes sense. When my cousin got pregnant, her husband bought her a Prada bag right away. Did your husband give you nice gifts to celebrate your pregnancy? Zhou Yuan felt as if she had been stabbed. Admitting he had given her nothing would be humiliating. Of course he did. I actually own a bag from that brand too. My husband gifted it to me. I just did not bring it today. Lin Yao raised her eyebrows in surprise, clearly skeptical. Really? Yes. After hearing this, Lin Yao sized her up repeatedly, looking her over from head to toe. In fact, how well off a person is can be fully seen from their outward appearance. For instance, how smooth their hair is, the condition of their skin, their clothing, and even their hands, all of these can reveal what kind of living environment a person comes from. Though Zhou Yuan had not been working at the shop for long, Lin Yao could tell that what she had just said was most likely untrue. Someone like her could hardly afford a Gucci bag. Still, Lin Yao did not call her out on the spot. Next time you can bring your bag in for us to see. We often talk about these things when we work together. If it's nice, I might even buy one myself. Zhou Yuan nodded awkwardly. Sure. She agreed verbally, yet she had no real intention of doing so. The truth was that she did not own a Gucci bag at home. She had only agreed for the time being. When they brought it up again later, she would simply say she had forgotten. Surely they would not keep pressing her about it. Nevertheless, her coworkers' constant chatter about luxury brands left Zhou Yuan feeling deeply discontented. Lin Yao was the best off among the shop assistants and owned the most luxury goods. The others, though not as well off, each had at least one or two high-end items. By comparison, Zhou Yuan had nothing, no designer bags, rings, or bracelets. She could not even afford a decent set of skincare products. That morning before leaving home, she had merely splashed water on her face and applied some cheap basic moisturizer that had cost only a few dozen yuan. Living at home and using inexpensive goods all the time had never bothered her. This sense of imbalance only surfaced when she compared herself to others. Working alongside these women made Zhou Yuan feel inferior to everyone around her. Resentment toward Lin Qingyang inevitably grew in her heart. If only he had worked harder, she thought, she would not have to live like this. The clothing store closed late, and by quitting time, night had fully fallen. Still, many nearby shops stayed lit, and a whole street of food stalls bustled with people out for late-night snacks. Instead of hurrying home, Zhou Yuan wandered around the neighborhood. She had only recently gotten this job and was unfamiliar with the area, so exploring felt worthwhile. Compared with staying out at work, she dreaded going home. As soon as she arrived, her mother-in-law would assign her chores or ask her to look after the child. She bought some snacks, found a place to sit, and pulled out her phone to look up Gucci prices. Items from this brand were extremely expensive. Even their cheapest bags could cost 10 to 20,000 yuan, and pieces priced at 100,000 or more were common. The fact that Lin Yao could casually own a 120,000 yuan bag spoke volumes about her family's wealth, filling Zhou Yuan with envy. She possessed nothing of quality to show for herself and carried only cheap bags that embarrassed her in front of her colleagues. Zhou Yuan kept scrolling on her phone, sorting items by price, and stared for a long time at the cheapest bag, whose style she found quite appealing. She kept opening and closing the product page, lingering for ages. Finally, she gritted her teeth and placed the order. She had not held a job since becoming pregnant and had barely any savings. This bag cost more than 10,000 yuan, and she paid for it with her credit card. She needed at least one decent item to boost her pride. Whether visiting relatives, meeting friends, or facing her coworkers, she wanted something that would let her hold her head high. She could no longer bear the way Lin Yao and the others looked at her, looks that plainly showed contempt. Things would be different now. Once she owned a nice bag, she could show it off whenever the topic came up and prove to them all that she could afford nice things too. Though she had spent a large sum of money, Zhou Yuan felt much better. Besides, she now had a job. With commissions for good sales, she reasoned, she would easily earn the money back. The child had long been rocked to sleep by the nanny. Lin Qingxue was in her room, just removing a facial mask from her skin. A system prompt suddenly sounded. Ding! Zhou Yuan has purchased a Gucci bag. Congratulations, host. You have received 10 Gucci bags. Lin Qingxue was rather surprised by the notification. She knew the spending habits of her relatives. Their household had never been well off. She had not expected Zhou Yuan to splurge on a Gucci bag. Even the cheapest options cost five-figure sums. A translucent system panel flickered into view in the air before her. On it, Lin Qingxue saw the bag she had just obtained. Its design was passable, not ugly, yet hardly stunning. Keep one. Convert the other 9 into cash. Understood, host. The remaining 9 Gucci bags have been exchanged successfully. 112,770 yuan has been transferred to your account. Please check your balance. 9 bags had converted to over 100,000 yuan, averaging a little more than 10,000 yuan apiece. Knowing her mother and brother, Lin Qingxue suspected that if they found out about Zhou Yuan's purchase, a fierce family quarrel would break out. None of that concerned her, though. Their arguments would have no bearing on her life. Leaning against her bedhead, Lin Qingxue picked up hand cream from her nightstand, squeezed some onto her palms, and rubbed it evenly across the backs of her hands. Now that she had both money and free time, she paid close attention to self-care, not only her face, but also her hands and body, striving to improve her appearance. She simply wanted to look her best. Lin Qingxue was genuinely bothered by the changes to her figure and skin brought on by childbirth. Staring into the mirror at her sallow complexion and loose-looking body distressed her, motivating her to make improvements. It was already past 10:40 at night. Time for sleep. She turned off her phone and set it on the nightstand. One press of the remote switched off the room lights. She sank into her pillow, closed her eyes, and quickly drifted off. With nothing weighing on her mind, she slept soundly. She could fall asleep shortly after her head hit the pillow every night. The next morning, a hearty breakfast prepared by the household nanny waited on the dining table, well-proportioned and nutritionally balanced. The child had just woken up, but Lin Qingxue did not need to tend to him. The nanny took care of everything. The residential complex housed a roughly 4,000 square meter clubhouse containing an indoor heated swimming pool, gym, yoga studio, executive lounge, private banquet hall, tea house, and more, all available for residents' use. Lin Qingxue had not visited it when she first moved in, but now, with plenty of spare time, she went there to exercise whenever she could. Diet alone could not fully reverse the physical changes from childbirth. Exercise was equally important. It helped shape her figure and strengthen her physical fitness. With financial security and her youth still on her side, staying fit would let her enjoy life for many years to come. Lin Qingxue swam 2 laps in the long pool before climbing out to rest on a lounge chair. She had not known how to swim at first, but most skills could be learned with dedicated effort. Few things were truly impossible to master. At 7 or 8 in the evening, Lin Qingyang got home from work and dropped straight onto the sofa. Zhang Lan was cooking in the kitchen. Having just covered a pot, she hurried out to pick up and soothe the baby. Ever since her daughter-in-law had started working, Zhang Lan had been stuck doing housework and childcare all by herself, and her energy was clearly stretched thin. The toddler could now walk, so she constantly had to watch him to keep him from running into danger or hurting himself. Sometimes mid-cooking, she would have to drop everything the moment the child made a sound to comfort him. Zhang Lan deeply resented bearing so much of the burden alone, but she endured it for her daughter-in-law's new job. If Zhou Yuan could earn money, it would ease her son's financial pressure and improve the family's quality of life. A rapid series of knocks sounded at the front door. Lin Qingyang did not lift his eyes from his phone screen. Holding the baby in one arm, Zhang Lan walked toward the door and opened it. A courier held a large parcel out toward her. "Hello, delivery for you." Zhang Lan looked confused. "I haven't ordered anything recently." She occasionally shopped on Pinduoduo, but she kept track of her purchases and had placed no orders in the past few days. She glanced back toward the living room. "Qingyang, is this your package?" Lin Qingyang shook his head. "I didn't order anything either." The courier double-checked the recipient information on the box. "This is the correct address. The recipient is Zhou Yuan. Does she live here?" Hearing the name, Zhang Lan understood. "Oh, that's my daughter-in-law's. Give it here." She carried both the baby and the parcel over to the sofa and sat down, staring at the box covered in English lettering. What on earth has she bought? Why is this covered in foreign words? Lin Qingyang had paid little attention, absorbed in his game. Nothing could pull him away until a match finished. Several minutes later, his game ended and he finally noticed the parcel in Zhang Lan's hands. When he spotted the logo, his eyes widened. "Whoa, is that Gucci?" Zhang Lan was unfamiliar with luxury brands and had no idea what he was talking about. "What did you say? Is it expensive?" "Gucci is definitely expensive." Frowning unhappily, Zhang Lan said, "Your wife bought it. Open it and take a look." Since they were family, Lin Qingyang saw no reason to respect his wife's privacy. He ripped open the box to see what was inside. A Gucci-branded outer box did not guarantee genuine merchandise. Counterfeit goods were everywhere, and merchants often reused random packaging boxes. One could not judge the contents by the outer packaging alone. Yet when he pulled a brand-new bag printed with the Gucci logo out of the box, Lin Qingyang was stunned. "It really is Gucci." Surprise and displeasure colored his tone. "She's only been working a few days. How could she splurge on something this pricey?" Zhang Lan had no concept of the price. How much would a bag like this cost? "I don't know for sure, but anything from this brand runs into tens of thousands of yuan." "Tens of thousands?" Zhang Lan's eyes went wide. She took the bag to examine it. "What makes it so valuable?" "It's just a bag, it doesn't even look special." "I'll look up the price." Different styles from the same brand varied widely in cost. Lin Qingyang took a photo and searched online. When he saw the price, he felt sick to his stomach. "Mom, this bag costs roughly 12,000 yuan." Zhang Lan's heart raced upon hearing the number. Are you certain? Does one bag really cost that much? Yes. The online listing confirms it. Could it be a fake? Lin Qingyang could not tell for sure. Maybe. It could be a counterfeit. We'll ask her when she gets home. Still, whether authentic or fake, Zhang Lan was upset. Even if it were a knockoff, it showed Zhou Yuan was obsessed with keeping up appearances. She just started working and already buys things for vanity. There is no need for this. You must talk some sense into her when she gets back. I know. We'll wait for her. He thought calling her now would only upset her either because he had opened her private parcel or because he would interrupt her work. It was better to wait until she returned home for the night. Zhou Yuan finished work late, so the family ate dinner without her. Zhang Lan served the meal, and mother and son ate together. It was past 10 o'clock at night. Lin Qingyang was still awake, and Zhang Lan watched television on the sofa when the sound of a key turning in the front door lock echoed through the house. Both of them turned their eyes toward the entrance as Zhou Yuan stepped inside. You're home. Lin Qingyang locked his phone and set it aside. I stood nearly the whole afternoon. I'm exhausted. Zhou Yuan hung her everyday shoulder bag on the hook by the door and sat down on the sofa. Hardly had she settled in when something flew toward her and landed in her lap. Recognizing the bag she had ordered online, Zhou Yuan looked up at Lin Qingyang, bewildered. What are you doing? Lin Qingyang's expression was grim. Did you buy this? You opened my parcel without waiting for me to get home? We're family. What parcel of yours can I open? I'm asking, is this yours? Yes, I bought it. So what? Am I not allowed to buy myself a bag? I don't mind you buying bags, but why this brand? Don't you know how expensive Gucci is? I looked it up. This costs more than 10,000 yuan. Look at our family's financial situation. How can you spend that kind of money? That sum could buy so many cans of milk powder and clothes for the child. Zhou Yuan's temper flared. They had opened her package behind her back and looked up its price. She suspected they had been gossiping about her the whole time, waiting for her return. Her original plan had been to buy the bag quietly, bring it to work, and gain some dignity among her colleagues. Lin Qingyang knew very little about women's luxury goods, and she had hoped he would never notice. Instead, they had torn open her delivery and researched its value. This isn't coming out of your pocket. I have a job now. My coworkers are always talking about their luxury items. I needed something decent so I wouldn't be looked down on for carrying cheap bags every day. Lin Qingyang had half suspected it was a counterfeit. Discovering it was genuine filled him with rage. What do you mean it's not my money? We are married. We are one household. What's yours is mine. You've barely worked long enough to earn any real income, and you blow this much on yourself. Zhang Lan also grew angry and lectured her daughter-in-law. What did you say when you decided to take this job? You said you would earn more money for this family and for the child. But look at what you've done. You are not thinking of us or the baby, only yourself. You haven't even received your first paycheck, and you splurge on an expensive bag. Why didn't you buy anything for me? You spend every bit of extra money only on yourself. Zhou Yuan had worked all day and was worn out. Coming home to be scolded by both of them destroyed her mood. You have no idea what the workplace is like. My colleagues talk nonstop about their luxury possessions. I have nothing, and they would mock me. Have you ever thought about how difficult that environment is for me? Zhang Lan disagreed. You cannot take everything others say to heart. If others want to compete, let them. Why must you join in? Live your own life. You went there to earn money, not to compete over bags. Some rich people buy bags worth millions. Why don't you go buy one of those? Lin Qingyang seconded her. Exactly. Some people own multi-million-dollar houses. Why don't you compete over that? Carrying a bag worth more than 10,000 yuan will not raise your status. People who look down on you will still look down on you. Return this bag right away. His tone was sharp and commanding. Zhou Yuan's mood soured completely. I will not return it. I bought it for myself. Tomorrow I plan to bring it to the shop to show everyone. Why should I send it back? Do you even want this marriage to work? Mother scrimps and saves for this household. She rarely splurges on nice food, yet you spend more than 10,000 on a bag. You know exactly what our finances are like. Zhou Yuan let out a cold laugh. I know exactly what our finances are like, but do not blame me for that. You ought to look at yourself. Why are we short of money? Have you worked hard enough? Zhang Lan could not bear to hear criticism of her son. Qingyang goes to work every day. What more do you want from him? He works as hard as he can. If we had plenty of money, I would not complain. But we do not, and you insist on buying such an expensive item. That bag costs as much as several months of your salary. How can you be so reckless? Zhou Yuan refused to admit fault. Of course I am willing to spend on myself. If you worked in that environment, you would understand how humiliating it is to have nothing nice to show. You do not have to endure those stares, so it is easy for you to dismiss it. Even if I worked in that shop, I would never act like this, Zhang Lan retorted. Just ignore other people's remarks. Why compete with them? Why not compete over who earns more money? As Qingyang said, send it back. Our family has no use for such an expensive item. A bag only needs to hold your belongings. Zhou Yuan stared coldly at them, her resolve firm. I will definitely not return this bag. Nothing you say will change my mind. I bought it, and I am keeping it. With that, she turned to head to the bedroom to rest. Zhang Lan shot her son a pointed look, urging him to follow. Lin Qingyang stood up at once, followed her into the bedroom, and slammed the door shut. Mother only spoke a few words to you. Why are you behaving like this? This is my attitude, and I am not returning the bag. Since you did not pay for it, you have no right to judge me. Lin Qingyang stared at her in exasperation. You have only worked a few days. How have you changed so much? You start an argument whenever anyone points out your mistakes. Do you want us to have a peaceful life together? Zhou Yuan lifted her head and fixed her gaze on him, then let out a laugh. Truthfully, I regret being with a man like you. My coworkers' boyfriends spoil them with gifts, Cartier bracelets, luxury watches. One colleague's cousin even received a designer bag when she was pregnant. Men give their partners nice things and treat them well. What have you ever given me? When I was pregnant, you never cared. You only played video games. After our child was born, you hardly ever changed his diaper. I took care of everything. This is our child, yet both you and your mother treat childcare as solely my responsibility. Where am I supposed to turn? Lin Qingyang frowned and tried to defend himself. It is not that I refuse to help. I am clumsy. I was afraid I would hurt the baby or make him cry. Do not make excuses. Nobody is born knowing how to care for an infant. I had no experience at first, but I learned to make formula and change diapers. Why cannot you? You are just being lazy. Your games matter more than your own son. Originally, Lin Qingyang had quite a strong case and intended to bring up the bag issue to have a serious talk with her. But as soon as Zhou Yuan brought up their child, his momentum instantly faded. What Zhou Yuan said was true. Apart from working hours, he spent almost all his spare time playing video games. Meals were served ready-made for him, he never did housework, and someone else washed his clothes. He worried about nothing at all. Lin Qingyang had always thought this kind of life was perfectly fine, that this was the life he deserved. As a man, as long as he earned money, that was enough. All the other chores should naturally fall to women. Yet now Zhou Yuan was using this against him, laying all kinds of responsibilities at his feet. Lin Qingyang could also tell that Zhou Yuan was very emotional right then. Picking a fight with her would only make things worse. Besides, it was already very late at night. It was not suitable for loud quarrels. If the neighbors overheard, they would surely gossip behind their backs. Lin Qingyang walked over and sat down on the edge of the bed, gave her shoulder a gentle pat. It's getting late. Can we drop this topic? I don't want to fight with you. I'm just trying to talk this through calmly. I am talking calmly. I only bought one bag. Ever since we got married, I haven't owned a single decent piece of clothing or handbag. And just because I bought one, in your eyes and your mother's, it's as if I've committed an unforgivable sin. Return it, or I'm supposedly failing this family. If I really didn't care about this family, I would stay home all day doing nothing and let you and your mother wait on me hand and foot. Lin Qingyang tried to soothe her again. That's not what we mean. Mom is old. She grew up in extremely poor times and is used to being frugal. So she thinks we are wasting money. It's not that she's specifically blaming you. If I bought a bag, she would say the exact same thing. She isn't targeting you personally. I know perfectly well whether she's targeting me or not. You don't need to make excuses for her. Having said that, Zhou Yuan took off her shoes, lay down on the bed, and turned her back to him, refusing to speak another word. Lin Qingyang stared at her for a moment. He stood beside the bed, unsure what else to say. He had already said everything he could. Don't be mad anymore. Zhou Yuan ignored him, still lying on her side with her back toward him. Lin Qingyang's patience wore thin. In a fit of pique, he threw himself onto the bed with a loud thud. The two of them lay back to back. Neither of them spoke to the other until the next morning. When morning came, Zhou Yuan got up as usual and went to the bathroom to wash up. Zhang Lan carried a bowl of congee out from the kitchen. Seeing her son already sitting at the dining table, she walked over and asked, "Well, Did you tuck her around? Lin Qingyang shook his head. She refuses to return it. Zhang Lan's opinion of her daughter-in-law sank even lower. This woman is so selfish. She talked a good game at first, and barely started working when she splurges on a bag for herself. Has she any idea what our circumstances are? Does she even deserve a bag worth more than 10,000 yuan? Mom, stop saying that. Zhou Yuan had finished washing her face and strode over to the dining table. Zhang Lan had thought she was speaking quietly, but Zhou Yuan had heard every single word while washing up in the bathroom. Zhou Yuan pulled out a chair and sat down. I'm selfish? You dare call me selfish? Zhang Lan glared at her. Aren't you? You said you were going to work for your child's sake. And now? You spent over 10,000 yuan on a bag for yourself. Do you know how many things that money could buy for your son? Zhou Yuan was so angry she almost laughed. Food sat in front of her, but she had no appetite. She pulled out her phone and opened an app. I'll show you what real selfishness looks like. She opened a shopping platform and searched for the brand Dior. Lin Qingyang leaned over the second she tapped her screen. He knew little about women's cosmetics, but he recognized the Dior brand and the price tag, another sum of more than 10,000 yuan. What on earth are you doing? He reached out to snatch her phone. Zhou Yuan twisted away out of his reach and directly placed an order for a gift set. She paid with her credit card. She had only been working a few days and had not yet received her salary, so credit card was her only option. Lin Qingyang had already been furious the night before. Seeing her blow another 10,000 plus yuan on a skincare set made him jump to his feet. Will you cut this out? How can a mother act so willfully? Another 10,000 on skincare. Are you deliberately looking for trouble? This time Zhou Yuan looked at them, no longer overcome with rage, and simply smiled faintly. Just now your mother called me selfish. I don't think buying things for myself counts as selfish at all. But since you insist on labeling me that way, I might as well live up to the name. From now on, every cent I earn will be spent entirely on myself. Don't expect anything from me. Zhang Lan flew into a rage. Zhou Yuan, I always thought you were a good daughter-in-law. How could you buy such expensive items out of sheer spite? There is still face cream in the cabinet. Those branded products only jack up the price for the logo. Their ingredients are barely any different. Anyone who buys them is just throwing money away. How interesting. When I spend money on myself, I'm a fool. If money was spent on the two of you, you would be overjoyed. Expensive goods have their merits. I am not wasting my money buying things for myself. She had not touched her breakfast. Zhou Yuan slipped on her shoes, grabbed her brand new Gucci bag, and walked out the front door. Zhang Lan and Lin Qingyang stood frozen where they were. Zhang Lan's hands trembled with anger. She pointed toward the doorway. Look at your wife. She flies off the handle the moment we say a few words to her. Lin Qingyang was also seething. He had never imagined Zhou Yuan could have such a terrible temper, recklessly spending money just to defy them. Zhang Lan dropped heavily onto a chair and stared at the food on the table, her appetite gone. What misfortune for this family, to bring home a daughter-in-law like her. She seemed so gentle at first. Now she picks fights over every little grievance. Mom, try not to get so worked up. How can I not get worked up? And you are useless. Last night I told you to set her straight, and you failed. This morning she spends another 10,000. Even if we had piles of wealth, we could not keep up with her wasteful ways. Lin Qingyang. Ding. Zhou Yuan has purchased a Dior skincare gift set worth 14,000 yuan. Congratulations to the host, you have received 10 Dior skincare gift sets each valued at 14,000 yuan. Lin Qingxue was eating breakfast when she heard the system notification. Staring at the 10 gift sets, she grew curious. First a luxury handbag, now high-end skincare. Where were they getting all this money? Logically speaking, they should not have such funds. Lin Qingyang was unambitious. All he did at home was play games, with no drive to earn money. Even if forced to work, he couldn't bring in that income. Zhou Yuan was busy taking care of their child and should have no opportunity to make large sums of money. And Zhang Lan had no source of income at all. So how could they keep spending over 10,000 yuan time and time again? Lin Qingxue could not figure it out. She decided not to dwell on it. Wherever their money came from was none of her concern, as long as she kept receiving system rewards. These 10 gift sets would be very useful to her, so she decided not to convert them. She would keep them for personal use. If the system had not given them to her, she would have had to pay for them herself. This saved her the trouble. After finishing breakfast, Lin Qingxue went to the bathroom and used her mind to summon one gift set out of the system storage. The set was quite complete: cleanser, Toner, essence, eye cream, and face cream, 5 items in total. It was not the brand's top-of-the-line line, but still of excellent quality. She placed the products in the storage compartment behind the bathroom mirror, ready to use after washing her face later. A few hours passed. After her meal had digested, Lin Qingxue headed out to the residential clubhouse. The clubhouse had a gym. She had often come here to swim before. Today, she planned to run on the treadmill. Thanks to regular exercise and the nutritious, low-fat meals the housekeeper prepared for her, she had lost 5 or 6 kg in recent weeks. Her figure had not yet returned to how it was before she gave birth, but she was satisfied with the progress. If she kept it up, results would improve. Dressed in workout clothes, she ran on the treadmill for more than 40 minutes. Her face burned and sweat dripped down her forehead. She stepped off the treadmill to sit and rest. Nearby, another woman who had also just finished her workout suddenly swayed and began to collapse toward the floor. Without thinking, Lin Qingxue reached out and caught her. "Are you all right? Dizzy?" The woman's eyes were half open, her brows knitted. She struggled to keep her balance, her legs wobbly under her. Lin Qingxue quickly helped her over to a seat, twisted open a bottle of mineral water, and handed it over. "Drink some water." Zhou Xingyan took the bottle and drank several big gulps, feeling much better. "Thank you." 1 second I was fine, and the next everything was spinning and the floor looked like it was rushing up toward me. "Did you skip eating before exercising?" "Low blood sugar." "That must be it. This has happened to me before when I skipped breakfast. I usually feel better after resting for a bit." Remembering the help she had just received, Zhou Xingyan thanked her again. "I really appreciate it." "It's nothing. Do you want to head home and rest?" "I'll sit here a little longer and send my husband a message. He will come pick me up. I live in this compound. It's just a short walk home." "All right. Have I seen you around the gym before?" "I don't recall noticing you." Lin Qingxue shook her head. "I don't come often. I only started coming these past few days. I've been swimming for several days, and today is my first time running on the treadmill." "No wonder. I come every few days. If you come again, we could work out together." "That sounds good. Which building do you live in? Are you in the residence group chat? Maybe we should add each other as contacts." "Yes, I'm in the group." Lin Qingxue pulled out her phone. All residents of the compound were in the group. Neighbors shared updates there, and property management posted official notices. System prompt: familiarity with Zhou Xingyan +5. Keep it up, host. Once familiarity reaches 40, you may establish a connection. Hearing the notification, Lin Qingxue realized it had been quite a while since she had connected with a new person. Since moving to the city, she had only connected with Jiang Baiwei and the members of her brother's household. No one else. She had only spoken briefly with this neighbor, yet already gained 5 familiarity points. There was good potential to build further connection in future. Zhou Xingyan sat in the lounge area for a short while. Soon a man walked over toward her, looking deeply concerned. "What happened? Dizzy again?" "Yeah, I almost passed out. Luckily, this young lady caught me." "How do you feel now? Any discomfort?" "I'm fine, much better. Let's go home and rest." "Okay." The man supported Zhou Xingyan as she stood up. Before leaving, she waved to Lin Qingxue. "Qingxue, this is my husband. We're heading home. Enjoy your workout, and let's exercise together next time." "Sure." Zhou Xingyan's husband Qin Yu now noticed the woman sitting in the lounge. Since she had helped his wife, he felt he ought to express his gratitude before leaving. "I wasn't here just now. Thank you so much for helping her." "You're very welcome. We will take our leave then." Lin Qingxue nodded. Qin Yu supported Zhou Xingyan by the shoulder and they left the gym. On the walk home, he chided her gently, all out of genuine care. "I have told you before, don't obsess over being thin. You are not overweight at all. Exercising is fine, but you cannot skip meals. No wonder you get dizzy when you exert yourself without enough energy. I didn't expect this to happen. I thought working out would improve my fitness. I never imagined I would get light, headed mid-run and nearly fall. Stay home and rest these few days. Eat more nourishing food." "I know." Even though Qin Yu kept lecturing her, Zhou Xingyan was not annoyed. She understood it all came from care. Carrying her new handbag, Zhou Yuan walked into the clothing shop feeling far more confident. In the past, she had only worn cheap items. Every time her coworkers talked about luxury goods, she felt ashamed and even wanted to quit her job. Things were different now. She owned a Gucci bag. When her colleagues discussed designer items, she could join in the conversation. She had already pushed the unpleasant family quarrel from that morning out of her mind. She was at work now and refused to let household conflicts ruin her mood. If she wore a gloomy face receiving customers, shoppers would not want her assistance. As Dou Yuan stepped out of the fitting room, Lin Yao had already spotted the Gucci bag she had carried inside. Smiling, she asked Yuan, "Did you get a new bag?" Zhou Yuan shook her head. "It's not new. I've had this one for a long time." She would never admit she had just bought it. That would make it look as if she had purchased it purely to keep up with others. Lin Yao pressed on. "Is this the bag you were talking about earlier, the one you brought in today?" "Exactly." "Oh. To be honest, that model is the cheapest option Gucci sells. It cannot compare to my bag worth over 100,000 yuan. Zhou Yuan's mood soured. She had thought buying a designer bag would put her on equal footing with the others, free from condescension. Yet Lin Yao was still flaunting her status, pointing out that Zhou Yuan's bag was an entry-level piece. Unwilling to be looked down on, Zhou Yuan defended herself. "This Gucci I brought today is not my most expensive bag, just one I bought some time ago. It was reasonably priced. I own several far more costly bags at home. I only bring one to work each day. I cannot carry all of them here at once." Lin Yao smiled, clearly not believing a word of it. "That's fine. Next time you can bring one of your other bags in for us to see." "I will. Work is starting. Let's drop this topic. Customers are coming in." Zhou Yuan made an excuse and stepped away from Lin Yao, wanting to end the conversation. Foot traffic in the clothing shop was slow in the morning. The busy hours fell around noon, afternoon, and evening. Even when business was quiet, staff were not supposed to stand around chatting. If the store manager or boss caught them, they would get a stern talking to and possibly have wages deducted. Strict workplace rules were one thing. What troubled Zhou Yuan most was her coworkers, especially Lin Yao. She could not tell whether Lin Yao was genuinely wealthy or putting on an act, but she constantly showed off her luxury possessions, thriving on the envious reactions of others. Thinking back on Lin Yao's words, Zhou Yuan grew worried about future work. She had bought a 10,000 yuan bag just to compete with her colleagues, yet hers paled in comparison to Lin Yao's. Would she keep feeling pressured to buy even pricier goods to keep up? She had spoken tough words to her husband and mother-in-law, claiming she would spend all her earnings on herself. But Zhou Yuan knew perfectly well she could never afford bags costing hundreds of thousands. She could never win such a competition. Still, Lin Yao was hard to deal with. Whenever Zhou Yuan used affordable items, Lin Yao treated her with contempt. Zhou Yuan felt thoroughly frustrated. It was nearly lunchtime when a female customer came in to try on clothes. Zhou Yuan stood beside the racks picking out suitable sizes for her to try. Even though it was her mealtime, she put eating aside. Making a sale took priority. She would eat once this customer left. The woman was extremely picky. She tried on multiple garments and rejected every single one, leaving without purchasing anything. Zhou Yuan felt discouraged. All that effort and no sale meant no commission. Her stomach rumbled loudly. She grabbed a box lunch and headed for the staff break room. Most of the other staff had already finished eating. She sat down alongside Wang Jing, another coworker who had also been held back by customers. Wang Jing was usually quite reserved. She rarely joined Lin Yao and the other employees when they gossiped about luxury brands. Zhou Yuan decided to ask her a few questions. "How many items did your customers buy just now?" Wang Jing shook her head. "Not great. She tried on more than a dozen pieces and only bought one." "That's still something, at least you made one sale. The customer I helped was impossible. She tried on loads and bought nothing. All that work for nothing." Wang Jing laughed. "That happens all the time. You are still new here, so you may not be used to it. I have worked here for years and seen every kind of shopper. Not everyone who tries clothes will buy. If something does not suit them, they walk away. Some people only try things on to take photos, then leave. There is nothing you can do. You must never show frustration on your face or customers will avoid you in future." "You are right." Zhou Yuan had felt upset, but she had kept her displeasure hidden. The store manager had stressed from day one that staff must maintain good service attitudes. Feeling the moment was right, Zhou Yuan brought up what she really wanted to know. "How long has Lin Yao worked here?" At the mention of that name, Wang Jing smiled and nodded. "Quite a while. I notice she barely sells any clothes, yet she never seems worried about commission." "Of course she isn't. She is related to our boss. She works here regardless of pay or commission, with almost no real work pressure." "Is her family rich then?" She is always telling everyone about her designer bags and jewelry. I am not sure about that. Maybe? Ever since I started working here, she has acted like this. Some of the other staff fawn over her and look admiringly whenever she talks about expensive purchases. In truth, she is very arrogant and looks down on everyone. She just enjoys showing off in front of others. I see. That explained why Lin Yao could chat idly without being reprimanded by management, even during working hours. She was a boss's relative. She might have some money, but not truly wealthy, hence her constant need to show off in front of colleagues. Wang Jing lowered her voice and offered a gentle warning. Try not to let it get to you. We are all here to do our jobs. Focus on your own work. You do not need to compete with her. I do not know her actual financial situation, but she may have some means. Starting conflicts with her could get back to the boss and cause you trouble. Wang Jing would normally have kept her thoughts to herself, but she had seen Zhou Yuan arrive carrying the Gucci bag and observe her talking with Lin Yao. Since Zhou Yuan had brought up the subject, she felt she ought to give her a friendly heads up. Zhou Yuan nodded. You make good points. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you for the advice. On Sunday, Zhao Hongkai and Zhuang Wen met again and had lunch together. Zhuang Wen had gotten a new phone worth more than 10,000 yuan last time. She found it worked really well and ran very smoothly. After finishing their meal this time, she planned to drag Zhao Hongkai to check out some digital product stores. Come with me to the XX brand store later. I want to buy a tablet. Sure, Zhao Hongkai agreed, though he felt a great deal of resentment toward Zhuang Wen deep down. She was clearly a gold digger. She was dating him just to get him to foot the bill for all kinds of items for her. If he showed any reluctance to buy things for her now, Zhuang Wen would surely get upset and storm off just like she had last time. After the meal, Zhao Hongkai paid the bill and went to the digital product store with her. Zhuang Wen had a clear goal this time. The moment they walked in, she headed straight for the tablet displays. Many models were laid out there. They looked fairly similar on the outside, but differed in specifications. Zhuang Wen picked one up at random and tested it out. A shop assistant behind the counter greeted her warmly. Hello. Are you looking for a tablet for work or entertainment? I can give you some recommendations. Not for work. I just want it for watching shows and scrolling short-form videos. I can do those things on my phone, but the screen is too small. I want a tablet so viewing will be more comfortable. That makes sense. We have many models to choose from. I suggest you try the soft screen version. The light is gentler and easier on the eyes. It's great for daily entertainment and also works for work. Your eyes won't get so tired after long screen time. Curious, Zhuang Wen picked up the model the assistant had recommended. Really? You can give it a try. Zhuang Wen lit up the screen and tapped around. It feels pretty good. Is this soft screen model more expensive than the regular screen ones? The shop assistant nodded. It is, but only by a few hundred yuan. Zhao Hongkai stood right beside them, barely holding back an eye roll. Only a few hundred yuan, she thought. Since Zhuang Wen would not be paying out of her own pocket, it was easy for her to say that. Selling a pricier unit meant a higher commission for the assistant. Zhuang Wen herself could not have cared less. She would just let Zhao Hongkai pay when the time came. She did not see herself as a gold digger at all. In her mind, she was merely testing whether Zhao Hongkai was willing to spend money on her. She had no interest in staying with a man who was too stingy. So far, Zhao Hongkai's behavior had satisfied her. She tested the unit at the counter several times and grew quite fond of the assistant's recommendation. She quickly made up her mind. Hongkai, I really like this one. Let's get it. There was not much Zhao Hongkai could do. He simply nodded. No problem. Whatever you like, we'll get it. The same tablet model came in different configurations at different price points. Once Zhuang Wen confirmed she wanted to buy it, the shop assistant kept pushing the higher spec version. Zhuang Wen listened and saw no reason to object. If she was getting one, she might as well get the best. In the end, she went for the top-end configuration of that model. I'll take this one. Please get me a brand new unit. We'll go pay right now. Very well. Zhao Hongkai pulled out his credit card and handed it over to the assistant. 6,800 yuan was charged in one go. The shop assistant placed the unopened new tablet into a bag and handed it to Zhuang Wen with both hands. Here you go. Thank you. You're welcome. Feel free to follow our official WeChat account. We will send notifications whenever new products launch. Okay, Zhuang Wen replied. She picked up the bag and left the store with Zhao Hongkai. On their way upstairs, they passed a milk tea shop. Zhuang Wen stopped and bought 2 drinks, passing one to Zhao Hongkai. Have something to drink. Let's go wander around some more afterwards. All right. This was typical of Zhuang Wen. Whenever Zhao Hongkai bought her something, she would reciprocate with something inexpensive. For instance, he had bought her this tablet, and she bought him a cup of milk tea. Previously, he had bought her clothes, and she had gotten him a few pairs of socks. By giving small gestures in return, Zhuang Wen convinced herself that their relationship was equal and that she was not taking advantage of him. Zhao Hongkai, however, kept a precise mental tally of every expense. He understood exactly what Zhuang Wen was doing, and his resentment toward her deepened. In the yoga studio, Lin Qingxue and Zhou Xingyan were going through stretching and body-shaping movements. When their session ended, they sat down in the rest area and drank some water. Thinking back on what had happened previously, Lin Qingxue asked with concern, "How have you been feeling lately? Are you all right?" Zhou Xingyan shook her head. "I'm fine. I fainted that day only because I hadn't eaten before going out. I'd put on 3 gene, and I was trying to lose it, so I restricted my diet." Lin Qingxue looked her over. "Your figure is already excellent. Gaining 3 gene is hardly a big deal. But I'm worried. If I let 3 genes slide this time, I'll let a few more genes slide next time. Before I know it, things will get completely out of hand. I have to keep myself in check. One moment of leniency will lead to more leniency later. I don't want to get fat and no longer fit into my nice clothes. Still, you need to put your health first. My husband says the same thing. After I fainted, he wouldn't let me go out for several days. He made me eat a lot at home. Ugh, it was so annoying. That just shows how much he cares about you. He's always like that. Sometimes he treats me as if I were a child, afraid I'll starve myself if he isn't watching every second. Haha, that man is truly thoughtful. He is, yes." Even as she complained about him, Zhou Xingyan wore a smile on her face. It was obvious she was living a happy life. Ding. Host, Zhou Xingyan's familiarity level has increased by 5. Current familiarity level, 10. Keep up the good work. After resting for a while, Lin Qingxue headed to the changing room. "Xingyan, I'm going to the swimming pool later. Do you want to come along?" At the mention of swimming, Zhou Xingyan showed immediate reluctance. "Oh no, I can't. I'm afraid of water. I wouldn't dare get in." Lin Qingxue smiled. "I was just like you at first. But after a few practice sessions, I picked up the basics and got over my fear. Swimming is great exercise for your whole body. Combine it with sensible eating, and I've lost several gene already." "How long did it take you to learn?" "Only a few days, less than a week." "Wow, you learned that fast?" "I didn't expect it either. Everything starts with not knowing. If you never try, you'll never learn. You can rest here if you want. I'll go swim by myself." "No, wait." Hearing that, Zhou Xingyan stood up at once. "Fine, I'll come and watch. I've actually wanted to learn how to swim, but every time I get in the water, the pressure feels overwhelming and I back out. Hearing you talk about it makes it sound easy. I want to give it a shot." "Great. I can teach you. I'll be counting on you then. Let's go." Ding. Zhou Xingyan's familiarity level has increased by 3. Another increase. At this rate, level 40 would not take long. Lin Qingxue brought Zhou Xingyan to the swimming pool. There were not many people there. A few swimmers had finished their laps and were resting on lounge chairs by the poolside. Right before getting into the water, Zhou Xingyan had second thoughts. Maybe I shouldn't do this. I'm scared. Lin Qingxue would not force her. "You can sit by the edge and watch while I swim one lap." "Okay, I'll watch how you do it." Lin Qingxue laughed a little sheepishly. "I don't have fancy strokes. I only know dog paddle." "Haha, that's still something. At least you can swim, unlike me." Lin Qingxue put on her swimsuit and got into the pool. The pool was quite long, but Lin Qingxue had been there many times. She quickly swam to the far end and came back. Zhou Xingyan clapped when she returned. "That was good. The style doesn't matter. The important thing is you can complete a full lap. That puts you ahead of a lot of people. I'm still trying to learn other strokes, but I haven't gotten the hang of them yet. I need more practice." What if, Zhou Xingyan hesitated. "What if I get in and try to learn too? If I learn, I won't be scared anymore. Sitting on the sidelines makes me feel cowardly. There's no pressure. Don't push yourself." "I'm not pushing myself. Come on, teach me." "All right." Before stepping into the water, Lin Qingxue explained basic movements and safety tips and went through warm-up exercises with her. Once they were properly prepared, Lin Qingxue took her into the pool. Zhou Xingyan was terrified at first. But Lin Qingxue stayed close by, walking her through every detail and ready to catch her if needed. Gradually, Zhou Xingyan's worries faded, and she managed to swim a few meters. Lin Qingxue offered plenty of encouragement. "You're doing really well. You're picking this up faster than I did." Zhou Xingyan could hardly believe it. "Really?" "Absolutely. It took me more than a day just to swim 5 or 6 meters. You've only just started, and you're already doing several meters. You're better than I was." Her confidence soared. "That's wonderful. I'll keep practicing today and try to master this skill. Then we can come swim together in the future." "Sounds good." Ding. Zhou Xingyan's familiarity level has increased by 5. Normally Lin Qingxue could finish several laps quickly, but today she was coaching a beginner, so they spent hours at the pool. Zhou Xingyan proved to be a quick learner. After several hours, she had grasped the fundamentals and could swim much farther. Thrilled with her progress, around 5 or 6 in the evening, she insisted on treating Lin Qingxue to dinner. "Qingxue, you taught me how to swim today. You're my teacher. I absolutely have to buy you a meal." "There's really no need. It was nothing. Please, come with me. Let's go to the clubhouse banquet hall, my treat. I've improved today, but I haven't fully mastered it yet. I hope you can come and help me practice again tomorrow." "Sure." Lin Qingxue did not decline further and went with her to the banquet hall. Zhou Xingyan handed her the menu. "Order whatever you like. This meal is on me. Consider it a thank you gift from student to teacher. You don't need to be so formal. Let's just be friends, no talk of teachers and students." Lin Qingxue ordered a few dishes and passed the menu back to Zhou Xingyan. Before the food arrived, Zhou Xingyan's phone rang. Seeing who was calling, she answered immediately. "Hello, are you home?" "Yes, I just got back." "Where are you?" "I'm in the banquet hall. Qingxue taught me how to swim today, so I'm treating her to dinner." "Oh, Qin, you understood. Enjoy your meal, then. I'll have the housekeeper prepare food at home." "Wait a second." Zhou Xingyan covered the phone and whispered to Lin Qingxue. "Qingxue, my husband just got home from work. Would you mind if he joins us for dinner?" Lin Qingxue shook her head. "Of course not. More connections would be helpful. The residents of this community were well-off people who could afford such high-end housing. Building more relationships with them would definitely benefit her." Lin Qingxue was happy for the chance to meet new people. Zhou Xingyan spoke into the phone again. "Come over and eat with us. It would be a shame to leave you eating alone at home." "Very well." Even over the phone, Zhou Xingyan could hear the smile in Qinyu's voice. Some 10 minutes later, Qinyu arrived at the banquet hall. He greeted Lin Qingxue as he walked in. "Hello." Lin Qingxue smiled and nodded. "Hello, please take a seat." Qinyu sat beside Zhou Xingyan. First, he asked how his wife was feeling, making sure she was all right, before turning to chat with Lin Qingxue. "Thank you for helping her learn to swim today. She has wanted to try for a long time but was afraid of the water. What method did you use to help her get past her fear?" Lin Qingxue smiled. "No special trick. I just told her about my own learning experience. She thought it seemed manageable and gave it a go. She is a very fast learner." "Is that so? Then you are an excellent teacher." Professional swimming coaches couldn't get her past her fear before. "No, I'm still new to this myself. I don't deserve that title." Ding. Qinyu's familiarity level has increased by 5. Zhou Xingyan patted her lightly on the shoulder. "Qingxue, don't be so modest. You taught me wonderfully, far more carefully than my old coach. I felt so safe with you beside me. You must be hungry after all those hours. Eat plenty. I won't hold back." The dishes soon arrived. The 3 of them sat together, chatting casually over dinner. The whole meal went pleasantly. As they finished, another system prompt sounded. Ding. Zhou Xingyan's familiarity level has increased by 5. The 3 walked out of the private dining room. Before leaving, Zhou Xingyan and Qinyu waved back toward Lin Qingxue. "Qingxue, don't forget to come tomorrow." "All right." Lin Qingxue agreed readily and headed back to her own apartment. Ding. Zhao Hongkai has ordered 1 steamed sea bass, 1 spicy shredded potato dish, 1 salt and pepper shrimp platter, 1 braised pork ribs dish, 1 sweet and sour pineapple pork dish, 1 green vegetable tofu soup, and 2 portions of rice. Congratulations, host. You have received 10 portions of steamed sea bass, 10 portions of spicy shredded potatoes, 10 portions of salt and pepper shrimp, 10 portions of braised pork ribs, 10 portions of sweet and sour pineapple pork, 10 portions of green vegetable tofu soup, and 20 portions of rice. Ding. Zhao Hongkai has purchased 1XX brand tablet. Congratulations, host. You have received 10XX brand tablets. Every time she heard these notifications, whether for familiarity, level gains, or item rewards, Lin Qingxue felt a surge of joy. She had never been particularly obsessed with digital gadgets. She had already gotten the new phone last time and enjoyed using it. Now she had tablets as well. She wanted to try one out, for she had never owned one before. Sitting on her sofa, she picked up one of the tablets and slid her fingers across the screen. The display was indeed large, making viewing very comfortable. Chen Guiyuan was cooking in the kitchen. Seeing her son come home, she asked, "Have you eaten?" Zhao Hongkai nodded. "Yes, I ate with Zhuangwen before coming back." "What did you buy for her today?" "A tablet. Cost several thousand yuan." At the mention of money, Chen Guiyuan frowned. "You need to sort this out soon. You can't keep wasting time like this with her." "I know." Meanwhile, Zhuangwen arrived home carrying her shopping bag. Her mother hurried over. Seeing her in a good mood, she asked how things were going with Zhao Hongkai. "You two have known each other for a while. How is everything going? Can you settle things?" "What do you mean by settle things?" Zhuangwen set down her bag. "I mean the engagement, of course. Isn't that a little soon? An engagement isn't marriage. Here in our hometown, when people meet through matchmaking, if neither side dislikes the other, they get engaged shortly after meeting." Zhuangwen knew the local customs, yet she thought it felt too hasty. An engagement was not a wedding, but she did not want to rush into something so important. "Let's wait a little longer." Her mother pressed her. "Don't wait. If he doesn't have major flaws, you can get engaged. Even after engagement, if something goes wrong, you can always call it off. It's not a marriage. If you keep dragging your feet, you'll only get older and find it harder to meet someone." Her family pushed hard for her to get married. Zhuangwen herself sometimes thought she could happily stay single, focus on work, and hang out with her girlfriends. But her parents wanted her to marry, as if completing that major life task would finally let them rest easy. Relatives and neighbors shared the same mindset. Surrounded by such expectations, Zhuangwen found it hard to go against social norms. Zhao Lingling had introduced her brother to Zhuangwen, which was how they had started seeing each other. Fine. We can get engaged. Remember what you said. An engagement is not a wedding. If I find problems later, I will call it off." Her mother nodded. "Of course. If you find you are unhappy with him after engagement, we will support you. We want you to marry soon, but we won't push you to accept just anyone." "I understand." Only then did Zhuangwen's mother notice the bag beside her. She could tell from the packaging what was inside. "Did he buy you that tablet?" "Yes." "How much was it?" "About 6 or 7,000 yuan. He bought you a 10,000 yuan phone before, and now this tablet and clothes. This man treats you very well. We are ordinary people. Don't let online stories fool you into dreaming of marrying some wealthy corporate boss. That is unrealistic. A decent man who is willing to spend money on you and build a stable life is what matters. Real life relationships are plain and unglamorous. I know perfectly well the difference between novels and reality. I just worry you might get misled. Some girls set unrealistic standards, yet rich men look for partners from similar backgrounds." "All right, Mom. If I had those unrealistic fantasies, I would never have agreed to go on matchmaking dates in the first place." Since both the Zhao Hongkai and Zhuangwen families wanted to push forward the engagement, the arrangements for it moved ahead very quickly. Zhuangwen thought things were progressing a little too fast, but hearing her parents' opinions, she did not raise many objections. When Lin Qingxue learned about the engagement, she was quite happy. However, the topic of purchasing the gold wedding jewelry quickly soured her mood. She had known all along that girls these days would expect such items for marriage. Her original plan was for Zhao Hongkai to buy 3 relatively inexpensive gold pieces from the jewelry store, just as a symbolic gesture. Yet Zhuangwen's family requested a set of 5 gold pieces, and they were not to be cheap. Over this matter, Chen Guilan vented her frustrations at home for quite a while. Still, she only complained within the household, making sure Zhuangwen and her family never heard a word. She feared upsetting them and calling off the whole engagement. Zhao Hongkai also disliked spending extra money. Now that Zhuangwen's family had agreed to the engagement, he decided to take Zhuangwen to the jewelry store to look at the pieces. He would buy them. After all, the money he spent on her would all be borrowed. He had written IOUs to relatives. Once they were married, he planned to let this woman pay everything back. Looking through the glass display cabinets, Zhao Hongkai's eyes lit up at the glittering gold items. He had to admit these precious metal accessories looked quite attractive. But when he saw the price tags, his excitement faded rapidly. They were far too expensive. Even an ordinary gold necklace cost several thousand yuan. Pieces priced at tens of thousands, even over 100,000 yuan, were also available. Today they needed to pick out 5 items in total. Standing beside him, Zhuang Wen examined the merchandise carefully. She did not view the 5-piece gold set as merely symbolic. If she was going to buy them, she intended to choose beautiful pieces she genuinely liked. When she was 17 or 18, she had thought gold tacky, giving off the impression of new, money ostentation. As she grew older, however, she came to believe gold outshone other kinds of jewelry. Owning a set at home was also a good store of value. After browsing for a long time, she pointed at one gold necklace and turned toward Zhao Hongkai. What do you think of this one? Instead of looking at the necklace itself, Zhao Hongkai's gaze first fell on the price tag. This single necklace cost nearly 10,000 yuan. If she kept choosing like this, 5 items would add up to 56,000 yuan. That was far too high a price. Even with his scheme in mind, Zhuang Wen's salary was unlikely to be very high. Buying overly expensive pieces was not sensible. Zhao Hongkai pretended to study the necklace and offered his opinion. At first glance it looks nice, but I worry wearing this around your neck might make you seem a little matronly, not youthful enough. His eyes scanned other necklaces, and he pointed to one. I think this one is lovely. It's star-shaped, dainty, and exquisitely crafted. Zhuang Wen glanced at the piece he indicated. Its design was not ugly, but it only cost a little over 3,000 yuan. A trace of hurt showed on her face. Are you unwilling to spend money on me? Zhao Hongkai immediately smiled gently. How could I? We are going to be engaged soon. Once we marry, we will be husband and wife. What is mine will be yours. I would never begrudge spending on you. I was just giving my honest impression of the necklace you pointed out. The one I showed you is only for reference. I am not forcing you to pick it. You can choose whatever you like. Outwardly, he appeared very considerate, yet privately he hoped Zhuang Wen would avoid costly selections. Then I will keep looking. Zhuang Wen browsed some more, and in the end her eyes drifted back to the necklace she had favored earlier. Besides the necklace, they still needed to pick gold earrings, a gold bracelet, and other pieces, none of which could be skipped. After several hours of practice, Lin Qingxue could clearly see Zhou Xingyan was swimming far better than the day before. When she had just learned, she could only swim a few meters. The full length of the swimming pool filled her with fear. Today, after more practice, she could swim halfway across the pool without anyone beside her. Still new to swimming, Zhou Xingyan did not push herself too hard. After a short swim, she climbed out of the water. Delighted by her progress, she patted Lin Qingxue on the shoulder. Can you tell how much better I've gotten? Yes. I was watching you swim just now. You pick up new skills really fast. Wonderful. Zhou Xingyan beamed. I will swim one more lap, then let's go for dinner. My treat. Dinner sounds good, but you should not always pay. Let me cover tonight. No way. You taught me yesterday and practiced with me today. I want to thank you. There is no need for formal thanks. I do not have many friends, and I really enjoy spending time exercising with you. Since we are friends, stop arguing over this. Come to dinner with me and do not refuse. All right, but you have to give me a chance to return the favor next time. Deal. Zhou Xingyan agreed readily. She did not care much about splitting costs. Picking up the bill when out with friends felt normal. As an only child from a city family, she came from a well-off household. Her husband Qin Yu also came from wealth and earned good money, so such expenses meant little to them. Ding. Familiarity with Zhou Xingyan +6. As soon as one system prompt finished, another appeared. Ding. Zhao Hongkai has purchased one gold necklace, one pair of gold earrings, one gold bracelet, one gold ring, and one gold pendant. Congratulations, host. You received 10 gold necklaces, 10 pairs of gold earrings, 10 gold bracelets, 10 gold rings, and 10 gold pendants. With a thought, Lin Qingxue saw the glittering items displayed on her system panel. From previous purchases, she had known Zhao Hongkai was dating someone. Buying the full 5-piece gold set meant he was moving toward marriage. She pitied the woman getting involved with such a selfish man. Another thought closed the system panel. Lin Qingxue intended to hold on to this gold without selling it. She already had substantial savings in her bank account and had no financial worries. Keeping the gold made sense, as its value would likely rise in the future. Chen Yu did not join them for dinner that night. Only Lin Qingxue and Zhou Shengyan ate together. Over the meal, Zhou Shengyan chatted about swimming and invited her out. Qingxue, I want to go shopping this Sunday. Would you come with me? My husband is busy with work and cannot accompany me. Women have more in common when shopping. We can give each other advice. Sure, I would love to go out, Lin Qingxue answered without hesitation. Keep your schedule free this weekend. I will message you. Got it. Ding. Familiarity with Zhou Shengyan has reached 40. Zhou Shengyan is now linked to the host. From now on, for every item Zhou Shengyan buys, the host will receive 10 times the quantity. Another person linked to her. Building familiarity had not proven difficult. It had not taken long. She had only taught her to swim, shared meals and talked, and their bond had grown. Lin Qingxue had not yet received rewards from Zhou Shengyan and did not know her exact spending power. Still, judging by her clothing and accessories, she could tell Zhou Shengyan was quite well off. Knowing her son would bring his girlfriend home for dinner, Chen Guilin began preparations an hour or two before their arrival. She washed and pre-prepared vegetables. Once she received their message, she could start stir-frying. Since this was her future daughter-in-law's first visit, Chen Guilin wanted to make a good impression. Though she harbored some resentment toward Zhuang when over her spending expectations, the wedding had not yet taken place. She could not afford to give her any cause for complaint. After the marriage, things would be different. Then she could assign household chores to her daughter-in-law. Carrying a bag of fruit, Zhao Hongkai walked into the residential compound with Zhuang Wen. As they headed toward his apartment, Zhuang Wen linked her arm through his, feeling nervous. I only met your mother once before. Will there be awkward silences at your place? It will be fine. My mother has a wonderful temper. Even when we first started dating, she told me many times I ought to bring you home for dinner. I wanted to, but I worried you would think things were moving too fast, so I never asked. Now that we are engaged, coming for dinner is perfectly normal. Do not worry. I will be there. His words eased some of Zhuang Wen's anxiety. Let me carry that fruit. It must be heavy for you holding it in one hand. No need. I can handle this. Men should take care of such things. You just relax. Zhuang Wen smiled and tightened her hold on his arm. He could be a little blunt sometimes, yet he was gentle and considerate. An elderly white-haired woman leaning on a cane walked past them. She halted, staring at them, and noticed the fruit in Zhao Hongkai's hand. Hey, Hongkai. Did you go shopping with your wife? Did you buy these at the gate? How much are apples a jean these days? Zhao Hongkai frowned sharply. His heart skipped a beat, and he shot old Madame Jiang an unfavorable look. Grandma Jiang, look carefully. Do not say random things. Zhuang Wen looked confused at the old woman, then glanced toward Zhao Hongkai. Wife. Zhao Hongkai put an arm around her shoulders. Let's go. Ignore her. He strode forward with her, putting distance between them and the elderly woman. Zhuang Wen's confusion lingered. Why did she call me your wife? Zhao Hongkai explained. That old lady suffers from dementia. She cannot recognize people. One morning on my way to work, she mistook me for her grandson. I see, Zhuang Wen replied. Her mind is muddled. Keep your distance if you run into her. She cannot even recognize her own family. Once she even chased her son around hitting him with slippers thinking he was a thief. That sounds terrible. Dementia must be such a burden for a whole family, Zhuang Wen said with a shrug. Exactly. She remembers nothing. Sometimes she wanders off and her family has to search everywhere. Everyone in the neighborhood knows about it. Hearing this, Zhuang Wen's doubts faded completely. Old Madame Jiang stood still with her cane, watching them go. She rubbed her eyes and looked again. Nearly 90 years old, her eyesight was poor. Perhaps she had misidentified them. That was not his wife. If she was not his wife, why had he put his arm around her shoulders? She wondered, but chose not to meddle in other people's business. Leaning on her cane, she wandered off to chat with other elderly women. At the sound of movement at the front door, Chen Guilin hurried out from the kitchen. Seeing her son and Zhuang Wen enter, she broke into a broad smile. Wen, come in and sit. I am almost done cooking. Dinner will be ready soon. Zhuang Wen smiled and greeted her. You must be tired, Auntie. Let me help. No. You should not do housework. Go sit on the sofa and watch television. I can manage the kitchen alone. Zhao Hongkai led her to the sofa. Just sit. You do not need to help. Once Zhuang Wen sat down, he picked up the remote and turned on a program for her. Zhuang Wen paid little attention to the television. In this unfamiliar home, she looked around the room. Which one is your bedroom? Zhao Hongkai pointed to a nearby door. That one. May I look inside? Of course. He had nothing to fear. Once he was certain Lin Qingxue would not return, he had thrown away all her clothes, shoes, and personal belongings. No trace remained of his past cohabitation. Entering the bedroom with Zhao Hongkai, Zhuang Wen looked around. The room was nicely laid out, a large wardrobe, a 1.8-meter bed, a desk with a chair, and a dressing table. Why do you have a dressing table in your room? Zhao Hongkai smiled calmly and explained. I do not need it for myself. After my mother started arranging blind dates for me, she added these furnishings. She said my future wife would need them after marriage, so it was better to prepare ahead of time instead of rushing later. Your aunt thinks of everything. That is just how she is. She notices things I overlook and keeps the household running smoothly. Once we live together, you will not need to worry. My mother will handle all the housework. When we have children, she will help look after them. You will only need to enjoy life. Zhao Hongkai painted a picture of a hardworking, gentle mother-in-law. Even so, Zhuang Wen was reluctant to live with older family members. Hongkai, I want to talk to you about something. Go ahead. You can tell me anything. She lowered her voice. You say your mother will cook and care for our children, but I would rather not live with her. Please do not misunderstand, I have nothing against her. Young couples need private space for our own life. Could we buy a new house after we get married? Zhao Hongkai froze. Their family finances could not stretch to purchasing another property. Still, he could not reject Zhuang Wen outright. We can consider that. I understand wanting independence. I also think young couples ought to live on their own. Rest assured, my career has great potential. I will get promotions and raises, and I will save all my earnings for us. Someday we will buy a nicer place and move out. Zhuang Wen nodded happily. All right. She could accept living together temporarily, as long as Zhao Hongkai was open to moving later. Since he had given his promise, she added her own thought. Even if we live separately, we will not stay away from your mother for too long. On weekends and holidays, I can come back here with you to visit her. Sounds good. Zhao Hongkai nodded. His phone in his pocket buzzed several times in quick succession. He pulled it out. Only partial text messages were visible on the screen, but he recognized the sender, Lin Qingyang. Seeing the name, he frowned and opened the messages. Brother-in-law, have you heard from my sister? Has she come back? We need to reach her urgently. Message me as soon as you have news. Mom is worried sick about her. Reading the messages irritated Zhao Hongkai. He blocked Lin Qingyang immediately. Lin Qingxue had already left with their child. There was no legal marriage between them. He was no brother-in-law. If Zhuang Wen accidentally saw these messages, disaster would follow. Blocking him was the safest choice. Now that he had separated from Lin Qingxue, he wanted nothing more to do with her family. They would go their separate ways. Zhuang Wen noticed him staring at his screen. She leaned closer. Who is that? Zhao Hongkai had already cleared the messages and slipped his phone back into his pocket. A colleague from work. He is working overtime and asking about work-related matters. I have already replied. Working overtime on a rest day? Sometimes urgent work comes up. Overtime pays extra, and the company provides meals. Do you often work overtime? Not really. I did for a period when things were busy, but now I usually get off work on time. Back when their child had just been born, Zhao Hongkai spent nearly every day lingering at the office, avoiding going home. He knew what awaited him at home, so he constantly lied about working overtime. I see. Zhuang Wen asked a couple more casual questions and dropped the subject of his job. In the kitchen, Qin Guilan stirred food in the wok with her spatula. On ordinary days for just 2 people, she only cooked 1 or 2 dishes. When Zhao Hongkai was out during the day, she made do with simple noodles for herself. Today was different with a guest. She prepared 6 or 7 dishes, plus soup and fruit. As one dish finished, she got ready to cook braised prawns, only to find the salt bag nearly empty. She shook the bag and poured whatever was left into the wok. She knelt down to open the lower kitchen cabinet looking for an unopened bag. Normally, she stocked several seasoning packets as spares. She rummaged for a long time and found no salt. Several more dishes still needed cooking. She could not continue without salt. She had no choice but to pause and call out to Zhao Hongkai in the living room, step outside for a moment. Go to the supermarket at the gate and buy a bag of salt. We've run out of salt in the kitchen. Zhao Hengkai knew this dinner was the first time the three of them would eat together, so he took it seriously. He quickly responded to his mother's request. I'll go right away. Is there anything else you want me to pick up? I can get it on the way back. Get some drinks too. Buy whatever young people like, she said. Zhao Hengkai turned to look at Zhuang Wen. What would you like to drink? We have juice and milk. Anything is fine, Zhuang Wen replied without much thought. Yogurt. I like yogurt. All right, I'll get some of that as well. With his errands assigned, Zhao Hengkai left the house. Chen Guoyuan went back to work in the kitchen. Zhuang Wen sat alone on the sofa watching television. This was her first visit to their home. Offering to help had only been polite talk, and she had no real intention of lending a hand. Sitting in the living room watching shows felt dull. Only a glass door separated the kitchen from the living room, offering very little sound insulation. The range hood rumbled loudly, creating quite a racket. Feeling uncomfortable staying there, Zhuang Wen headed to Zhao Hengkai's room to sit at his desk and scroll through her phone. Even scrolling on her phone was better than watching mindless television. She rarely watched TV at home, though older family members enjoyed sitting fixed on the sofa in front of it for hours. It seemed much the same at Zhao Hengkai's place. She sat down at the desk in his room, pulled out her phone and browsed. She idly fiddled with small trinkets on the desk, then accidentally pulled open a drawer. Inside lay a stack of papers. Zhuang Wen barely paid them any notice at first, but when her eyes caught certain words, her hand froze halfway to closing the drawer. Curious, she pulled the papers out. They were hospital test reports, all under one name, Lin Qingxue. She flipped through them one by one. Though she knew little about medical matters, terms such as HCG, progesterone, 6 to 8 weeks of pregnancy, B-scan, blood type, and blood clotting function made it clear these were prenatal examination documents. Zhuang Wen's expression darkened as she stared at the name. Lin Qingxue? Who is this woman? She had never met her, yet the name was obviously female. Zhao Hengkai only had one sister, Zhao Lingling. Why were Lin Qingxue's medical records inside his bedroom? What connection existed between them? Dreadful suspicions rose in Zhuang Wen's mind. Clutching the papers, she shot to her feet and strode out of the bedroom. At that exact moment, Zhao Hengkai walked in carrying salt and bottles of yogurt. I'm back. Do you want something to drink now? Zhuang Wen shook the reports in her hand. What are these? Who is Lin Qingxue? The plastic bags in Zhao Hengkai's hands trembled. He stared in disbelief at the documents she held. After Lin Qingxue had left, he had thought he had thrown away everything belonging to her. He had no idea how Zhuang Wen had unearthed these. Zhao Hengkai had almost never accompanied Lin Qingxue to her prenatal checkups, so he never knew where she stored her reports afterward. Clearly, they had been tucked away somewhere in his bedroom. Even with hard evidence right in front of him, Zhao Hengkai refused to admit the truth. She's a distant relative of our family. Hearing their raised voices from the kitchen, Chen Guoyuan hurried out. Seeing the reports in Zhuang Wen's hands, she quickly echoed her son. Yes, a distant cousin. We weren't close to her. She stayed with us for a while when she was expecting and must have left these papers behind. They were unimportant, so we never got around to throwing them out. Zhao Hengkai hardly used his desk. After work, he either played games on the sofa or slept in bed. Moreover, once Lin Qingxue became pregnant, they mostly slept in separate rooms. He had no knowledge these documents existed, and he certainly had not expected Zhuang Wen to find them during her first visit. That doesn't add up, Zhuang Wen objected. Why would a distant pregnant cousin move into your home? Didn't she have her own place? Even as a guest, why would she use the master bedroom? She should have had the guest room. Chen Guoyuan explained. She worked away from home and got pregnant without being married. Her own family was ashamed of the situation, and the child's father abandoned her, yet she wanted to keep the baby. So she came to relatives to lie low. Since she was heavily pregnant, the guest room bed was too small. We feared she might fall, so we gave her the master bedroom. There is absolutely nothing going on between her and Hengkai. Please do not misinterpret things. Zhuang Wen paused and processed their story. It sounded highly unconvincing. A distant cousin? Did she have no other relatives or friends? Couldn't she afford to rent somewhere on her own? If you were barely on speaking terms, why would she seek shelter precisely with your household? Chen Guoyuan sighed heavily. She has other relatives, but no one else was willing to take her in. Zhao Hengkai nodded. My mother has always had a kind heart. Even though we were not close, we could not bear to see her suffer. Everyone else turned her away. She showed up at our door when she needed help the most. We could hardly kick her out, so we gave her temporary shelter. Please do not misunderstand me over this. It would be terribly unfair to me. Zhuang Wen frowned deeply. She did not know whether to believe them. Qin Guiyuan watched her expression closely and stepped a little closer. Wen, do not overthink. We would never lie to you. I am just an ordinary housewife. I do not have tricky schemes. That woman has nothing whatsoever to do with my son. That woman. Zhuang Wen repeated the phrase under her breath. If she is family, why do you speak of her with such hostility? Qin Guiyuan shook her head repeatedly. That was poor wording. I was just trying to explain myself. I am older and not well educated. I only know a few characters. Please excuse my clumsy choice of words. Everything we have told you is true. Do not doubt Hongkai. Zhao Hongkai wore an aggrieved look as though he were truly innocent. Noticing Zhuang Wen's uncertainty softening slightly, he sat beside her. My mother and I are telling you the truth. Feel free to ask me anything, and I will answer honestly. My sister Zhao Lingling is someone you used to work with. If I had done something improper, she would never have encouraged your relationship. Thinking of Zhao Lingling, Zhuang Wen's doubts faded a little. They had once been colleagues and gotten along well. Qin Guiyuan seized the moment. Wen, sit and rest. Dinner will be ready shortly. We will eat together. She returned to the kitchen to finish cooking and carried dish after dish onto the dining table. The table was laden with abundant food, fruits, soup, and drinks were spread across it. Though Zhuang Wen sat with them, her mind kept returning to the matter. Despite the lavish spread, she had no appetite. Qin Guiyuan and Zhao Hongkai kept observing her, fully aware she remained troubled. Qin Guiyuan pushed a plate toward her to distract her. Wen, have some food. Zhuang Wen frowned and did not pick up her chopsticks. An idea occurred to her, and she pulled out her phone. I am going to ask someone. Zhao Hongkai tensed. Ask who? Your sister, of course. Panic washed over Zhao Hongkai and Qin Guiyuan. They had told Zhuang Wen Lin Qingxue was a distant cousin. If she called Zhao Lingling, inconsistent statements would expose their lies. Qin Guiyuan wanted to stop her, yet snatching the phone would only make them look guiltier. Wen, everything I said is true. Why must you continue to distrust us? You wound me greatly, Qin Guiyuan said. Zhuang Wen stared firmly at her. Please stay quiet, Aunt. I have to get to the bottom of this. I want to know exactly who Lin Qingxue is to your family. Both of you keep quiet. If you interrupt, that will prove you are hiding something. Zhao Hongkai sat rigidly, sweat forming on his palms. Once this call connected, Zhao Lingling would never confirm Lin Qingxue as his cousin. If she made up some story that conflicted with what they had said, their deception would collapse. Helpless, they watched Zhuang Wen place the call. At that moment, Zhao Lingling was eating dinner at home with her husband and children. Seeing Zhuang Wen's name pop up, she answered right away. Since Zhuang Wen was engaged to her brother and would soon become her sister-in-law, she treated her warmly. Hello, Wen. Why are you calling me all of a sudden? Lingjie, I need to ask you something. Did Hongkai's acquaintance Lin Qingxue stay at your family home for a period of time while she was pregnant? How long did she live there? Zhao Lingling froze. Shock coursed through her. She had no idea why Zhuang Wen was bringing up Lin Qingxue and why she referred to her merely as Hongkai's acquaintance. Her mind raced. Had Zhuang Wen discovered evidence while dining with her mother and brother? It seemed highly likely. She quickly responded. Yes. Lin Qingxue was an acquaintance of Hongkai's who had helped him out before. When she became pregnant and had no one to rely on, she stayed with our family for a while. Rest assured, theirs was purely a platonic friendship. She was carrying another man's child, and he abandoned her. So she needed temporary lodging at our place. She only stayed 1 or 2 months before leaving. Rage flared inside Zhuang Wen. Wonderful. Truly wonderful. Your whole family has been lying to me. Lingjie, I trusted you, and you deceived me. Zhao Lingling grew flustered. What lie? Everything I just said is factual. Is it? Earlier your mother and your brother claimed Lin Qingxue was their distant cousin. Now you say she is just an acquaintance. Which of your versions is the truth? Zhao Lingling fell silent. She realized Zhuang Wen had tricked her. Before she could offer further explanation, Zhuang Wen hung up. Qin Guiyuan and Zhao Hongkai could no longer sit still and rushed to speak. It is not what you think. What more is there to say? Zhuang Wen glared angrily at them. First a distant cousin, then just an acquaintance. Your whole household is tangled in deception. After this, I cannot bring myself to believe a single word claiming Lin Qingxue has nothing to do with Zhao Hongkai. Zhuang Wen pushed back her chair. She had lost all desire for dinner. Zhao Hengkai, since you refuse to tell me the truth, this relationship cannot go on. We are done. She walked toward the doorway to leave. Zhao Hengkai hurried after her. Chen Guiyuan wanted to follow, yet she paced anxiously indoors, unsure what she could accomplish without worsening her son's predicament. She could only watch them depart. Inside the house, Chen Guiyuan remained distraught. Her son had put so much effort and money into this match. They had already reached the engagement stage, yet this secret had come to light. Zhuang Wen strode forward, Zhao Hengkai close on her heels. Listen to me. It is not how it looks. Then what is the truth? Zhuang Wen retorted. Was Lin Qingxue your former partner? She was pregnant, then you separated, and you passed her off as a distant cousin. You have misled me for so long. Zhao Hengkai burned with frustration, blaming Zhao Lingling for her clumsy response. She really is a distant cousin. My mother and I told you plainly that we were not close. My sister married young and never lived with us, so she knew nothing about this relative. When you called, she called her an acquaintance only to keep you from misunderstanding. I have never had a serious romantic relationship, nor have I gotten anyone pregnant. You have to believe me. I cannot believe you anymore, Zhuang Wen insisted. Zhao Hengkai, this is over. The engagement is off. We are already engaged. You cannot just walk away like this. Why not? Zhuang Wen shot back. If you were truly an honest person, I would happily move forward toward marriage. But your entire family has kept secrets from me. I no longer wish to be with you. Zhuang Wen kept walking, yet Zhao Hengkai refused to let her go. He had spent substantial sums on her, clothing, a cell phone, a tablet, plus the betrothal gifts. He would not allow her to end everything so easily. He grabbed her arm, attempting to reason with her and persuade her to stay. Just then, Lin Qingyang rode up on an electric scooter. Spotting Zhao Hengkai, he pulled up directly in front of him. Brother-in-law, I have been trying to find you. Why did you block my messages? That single address confirmed the fact that Zhao Hengkai had once shared a life with Lin Qingxue. Zhao Hengkai shot him a furious look. Zhuang Wen looked at him with bitter disappointment. Well, would you look at that? More proof. How can you still deny your connection to her? Lin Qingyang glanced at Zhuang Wen. Who is this? That is none of your concern. Zhao Hengkai snapped. Lin Qingyang grew annoyed. How can you say that? Even though my sister left, you should not move on this quickly. You share a child together. As the father, you have obligations to provide for her. I messaged you trying to locate my sister, and you blocked me outright. That is incredibly cold-hearted. Zhao Hengkai wanted to silence Lin Qingyang. Undeterred, Lin Qingyang continued. We have an emergency in our family. Our mother fell and suffered a bone fracture. She needs hospital care. I have work obligations and cannot look after her, and Zhou Yuan is also occupied. We hoped my sister could come home to care for her, or that you might offer some help. Blocking me was far too ruthless. Zhao Hengkai lost his temper completely. What do your mother's injuries have to do with me? Your sister abandoned everything and ran off. What ties do I still have with your family? Why should I get pulled into your troubles? If her own son and daughter-in-law cannot look after her, why come demanding help from me? Seeing Zhao Hengkai lose control, Zhuang Wen raised her hand and slapped him across the face. You are utterly despicable. She pulled free of his grasp and hurried away. Stung by the slap and furious, Zhao Hengkai turned his rage toward Lin Qingyang. Are you deliberately here to cause trouble for me? I am causing no trouble, Lin Qingyang retorted. Did my arrival ruin your act of pretending you have never lived with anyone? Even without official marriage papers, you shared a life and have a daughter together. Even if my sister is missing, you still owe child support payments. Since I cannot reach her, you can give the money directly to me. Zhao Hengkai pointed at him. You are asking for the impossible. When I formed that relationship with your sister, your family accepted 60,000 yuan as a betrothal payment. She ran away with our daughter. I have not even demanded that money back, yet you dare ask me for support funds. Where do you get such nerve? I have every right, Lin Qingyang insisted. Regardless of paperwork, that child is yours, and you are responsible for her upkeep. My mother was once your mother-in-law. Now she is hurt and hospitalized. Why is it unreasonable to ask you to help care for her? We would not seek you out if we could manage on our own. None of this is my problem. Leave me alone. Zhao Hengkai shouted and turned to leave. Lin Qingyang jumped off his scooter and chased after him, grabbing his sleeve. At least tell me where my sister is. How should I know? Zhao Hengkai snapped. She ran off on her own. Go look for her yourself. I would like to find her too. At one point, Zhao Hengkai and Qin Guiyuan had wanted to locate Lin Qingxue. Getting her back would have saved them the cost of pursuing a whole new engagement. Lin Qingyang held onto his sleeve firmly. If you are leaving, give me 5,000 yuan first. I needed to cover my mother's hospital bills. Zhao Hengkai almost laughed out of anger. How many times must I repeat myself? Your mother's hospital bills are none of my business. Since you are here, go talk to your family and return the 60,000 yuan betrothal gift we paid yours. Why? Why? Ask yourselves. I spent that money to marry a wife, have kids, and build a life together. Your sister ran off and I got nothing out of this. So that money should be returned. That's impossible. We already had the wedding and a child was born. That money was compensation for our family. There is no way we are giving it back. The tens of thousands in betrothal money from back then had long been spent by Lin Qingyang. There was nothing left. Qin Guiyuan had been at home, at a loss for what to do. Eventually, she hurried outside and saw Zhao Hengkai and Lin Qingyang arguing loudly. Many neighbors were around. Afraid of gossip spreading about their family, Qin Guiyuan rushed over to stop them. What are you doing here? Why are you making such a racket? Lin Qingyang restated his purpose for coming and also brought up child support payments. Qin Guiyuan shared Zhao Hengkai's point of view. Your family has gone too far. Your mother is sick. You should be the ones looking after her. What does that have to do with us? And it's not that we refuse to pay child support. Lin Qingxue took the baby and ran away, refusing all contact with us. If she wants nothing more to do with our family, why should Hengkai pay support? For all we know, she's found another man out there. Let that other man take care of the child. Why should we foot the bill? Lin Qingyang spoke firmly. Because my sister gave birth to your son's child. As the father, shouldn't he pay child support? Get lost. Qin Guiyuan snapped. Don't ever mention your sister to me again. Just hearing her name makes my blood boil. She had a good home here, yet she insisted on running off without a trace. If she's so stubborn, then let's cut all ties. Whatever happens to her out there is none of our business. Lin Qingyang tried to say more, but Qin Guiyuan kept berating him. Go back to your own house right now and stop making noise here. Sort out your own family's problems. We've got enough chaos on our hands as it is. With that, Qin Guiyuan dragged her son back inside and slammed the door shut. Lin Qingyang seethed with anger. He had already been furious when Zhao Hengkai blocked his number, so he rode his electric scooter straight over. He never expected such a hostile reception, being shut out like this. They had been supposed to enjoy a nice dinner that evening, yet everything had fallen apart. When Qin Guiyuan and Zhao Hengkai walked back into the house, the meal was still laid out on the table, but neither of them had any appetite. They sat on stools, both wearing grim expressions. Qin Guiyuan huffed angrily. We wasted so much time on her, and in the end she just vanished. Zhao Hengkai was also burning with rage. His frustration was directed not only at Lin Qingyang and Zhuang Wen, but also at his own mother. After Lin Qingxue left, why didn't you go through her room and throw everything that should be thrown away? If she hadn't found those pregnancy check-up papers in the drawer, none of this would have come out. Qin Guiyuan frowned at her son. Are you blaming me? Am I wrong? I could say those papers were in your desk drawer. Why didn't you check? I almost never use that desk. I work all day and come home exhausted. I shower and go straight to bed. When would I have time to rummage through drawers? Besides, I had no idea Lin Qingxue had put those papers there. You're the one who does housework around here. Why didn't you pay more attention? Without those documents, we could have kept this hidden forever. Qin Guiyuan was already in a bad mood, and her son's accusatory tone hurt her feelings. What's done is done. I didn't want her to find those things. If I'd known those papers were in that drawer, I would have gotten rid of them ahead of time. She's already gone. Blaming me won't change anything. Zhao Hengkai fell silent. He knew he couldn't hold her entirely responsible, yet his temper flared out of control anyway. Then another thought occurred to Qin Guiyuan. But we can't let this slide. You spent a lot of money on Zhuang Wen after you met her, buying her all sorts of things. Since she refuses to marry you, you need to get that money back. Otherwise, we've lost far too much. I don't need you to tell me that. I intend to get every cent back, Zhao Hengkai ground out through his teeth. Why should he keep spending money on a woman who would not be with him? Everything he had bought for her had been given with marriage in mind. If Zhuang Wen refused to build a future with him, even the cost of their shared meals ought to be repaid. Zhuang Wen told Zhu Sha every detail of what had happened at Zhao Hengkai's house. Her eyes reddened with fury, her fingernails digging into her palms. I thought he seemed decent at first. It turns out he's a terrible person. Words can hardly describe how awful he is. Hearing what her best friend had endured, Zhu Sha was equally enraged and felt sorry for her. I told you from the start to take more time getting to know him and not rush into an engagement or marriage. So many men put on a nice act before commitment and show their true colors later. This man hadn't even married you yet, and all this came out. Most women would endure a great deal after marriage, but the fact that Lin Qingxue ran away with such a young baby says everything about how bad he is. Zhuang Wen was still simmering when her phone pinged with several incoming messages. They were from Zhao Hongkai. You don't want to be with me, fine. But I spent a great deal on us. Meals, shopping trips, clothes, electronics, gold jewelry, and more. You have to pay all that money back. One message followed another, listing every item he had bought her along with their prices. Even a bottle of drink was included in the tally. Reading them made Zhuang Wen angrier. I can't believe this. Could this man get any worse? Zhu Sha asked, what's wrong? Zhuang Wen held out her phone for her to see. He's kept track of every single thing he bought me. Now he's demanding repayment, even counting a 5 yuan bottle of drink. Zhu Sha stared in shock. Good grief. Even as an outsider, this makes my blood boil. How shameless can he be? He wasted so much of your time. You ought to be claiming compensation for emotional distress from him, yet he wants repayment for dating expenses. He has no self-respect at all. He's completely shameless. Zhuang Wen fumed. Should I fire off a reply and yell at him? There's no point replying. Don't pay him anything. Spending money during dating is normal, and gifts between partners are commonplace. On top of that, he is the one at fault. He lied to you, hiding that he already had a child with another woman, and his whole family went along with the deception. You've already suffered enough because of him. Do not give him any money. Just block him and cut off all contact. Zhuang Wen thought it over and nodded. All right, I'll do that. She blocked his WeChat account and added his phone number to her block list. She never wanted any interaction with this man again. What rotten luck to meet someone like him through blind dating. She hated Zhao Hongkai and also hated Zhao Lingling, who had sung her brother's praises while hiding the truth. He already had a child yet pretended he had never been in a serious relationship. The whole family had conspired to mislead her. If she hadn't discovered those documents on the night of that planned dinner, she might have married him without knowing the truth. Just thinking about it sent chills down her spine. Zhu Sha took the chance to give her some advice. From now on, be wary of blind dates. Truly good partners rarely need to be introduced this way. You never know what hidden problems you might run into. You can have a good life just focusing on your work, but marriage can trap you in misery. Sigh. I wasn't eager for blind dates either. It's my parents who keep pressing me about marriage. I wasn't planning to agree to an engagement so quickly, but my mother kept saying I should just settle. Older generations grew up in different times, so that's how they see things. Still, you have to honor your own feelings. Don't settle just because your family pushes you, or you will end up suffering. Zhuang Wen took a deep breath. You're right. I need to call my parents and tell them everything. I'm afraid that scoundrel Zhao will go after my parents for money now that he can't reach me. He is exactly the sort of person who would do that. You should call them right away. Lin Qingyang returned to the hospital with nothing accomplished. He was not cut out for caring for the sick, but Zhou Yuan was utterly self-centered and refused to help, leaving him to handle everything. Before going to the ward, he bought some food and paid part of the hospital bill at the payment counter. Only then did he head to the ward. Zhang Lan lay in bed with an injured leg. No luck. Right. Zhao Hongkai was extremely hostile. He blocked me and said he wants nothing more to do with our family. He's already seeing another woman. That woman found out about my sister and was furious. I don't know exactly where things stand between them after that. Learning how her former son-in-law had acted, Zhang Lan felt a mix of disappointment and rage. That Zhao Hongkai has no respect for elders. He married my daughter and disowns me as his mother-in-law. He won't even come visit when my leg is fractured. Does he intend to cut ties with your sister forever and start over with someone else? That is clearly what he wants, Lin Qingyang confirmed. Zhao Hongkai's attitude had spoken volumes. He would fly into a rage even being called brother-in-law. On top of that, he is demanding we return the betrothal money you received for my sister. At the mention of money, Zhang Lan nearly jumped out of her hospital bed. Moving jolted her injury, and she winced in pain. Lin Qingyang hurried to stop her. Mother, your leg is still hurt. Don't move around. Did he really say he wants the betrothal money back? He did. I never realized how heartless Zhao Hongkai could be. Now that my sister is left, He treats our family like this and even swears at us. That will never happen. Once given, that money stays with us. Zhang Lan's tone was firm. His demand is ridiculous. You cannot buy goods from a supermarket and come back years later asking for a full refund. Exactly. My sister lived in their home for a long time, did housework for them, and gave birth to his child. That money belongs to us. He is not getting it back. Seeing Zhang Lan straining to sit upright in bed, Lin Qingyang supported her. Mother, lie back and don't get excited. Right now your priority is recovering from your leg injury. As long as she remained hospitalized, he had to stay by her side. It was taking a toll on him. He had thought about hiring a carer, but carers cost hundreds of yuan per day. His monthly salary was only a few thousand yuan. His own 1-year-old child still needed milk powder and daily household expenses piled up. He could not get any money from Zhou Yuan. Zhang Lan lay back on the bed, still full of resentment. At home she could do housework, even if grudgingly, and move freely. Now she could barely shift in bed. You've spent the whole day here. Aren't you supposed to be at work? Lin Qingyang looked helpless. If I go to work, who will look after you? Send your wife over. I've asked her. She refuses to come. Zhang Lan pointed at him. You are useless. You cannot even make your own wife fulfill her duties. If you're so capable, you go make her come. Zhang Lan had no reply. Ever since the incident over that designer handbag, her daughter-in-law Zhou Yuan had grown even more difficult, picking fights over small grievances. Zhou Yuan had held a job for some time, yet she contributed nothing to the family, spending almost all her earnings on herself. What misfortune for this family. My daughter-in-law shows me no filial respect, won't look after me even with my injured leg. And my own daughter ran away. Will she not even show up for my funeral one day? Lin Qingyang sat beside her in silence. He could not guarantee that would not happen. Judging by Lin Qingshua's current stance, that outcome was very possible. She had changed her phone number and her social media accounts were unreachable. She was completely cutting off contact with her old family. If there was a funeral back home, there would be no way to notify her and she would never appear. Seeing Zhang Lan burning with frustration, Lin Qingyang placed the food he had bought on the bedside tray. Mother, don't get upset. Eat something. How can I not be upset? Everyone around me gives me nothing but grief. Getting angry won't solve anything and will only harm your health. Please eat. Lin Qingyang opened the food containers. Since you're in hospital, I didn't buy anything heavy. There is steamed egg custard, stir-fried shredded potatoes, and congee. Make do with this. His main concern was saving money. Zhang Lan's leg was hurt, but her digestive system was fine. Normally, she ought to have nourishing food like pork ribs to aid recovery, yet Lin Qingyang saw no need for extra expense and settled for simple meals. Zhang Lan did not complain. With Lin Qingyang's help, she propped herself up slightly, picked up her spoon, and began eating the congee. Ding! Lin Qingyang purchased 1 portion of steamed egg custard, 1 portion of stir-fried shredded potatoes, and 1 portion of congee. Host has received 10 portions of steamed egg custard, 10 portions of stir-fried shredded potatoes, and 10 portions of rice. Ding! Lin Qingyang paid 2,000 yuan hospital deposit. Host has received 20,000 yuan. Lin Qingxue had just finished dinner. She sat on the sofa with her child, watching television, when the system notification sounded. She had just received 20,000 yuan, triggered by a hospital fee payment. Who was in hospital? Lin Qingxue wondered. But after escaping her old life, she felt little sympathy for her birth family. Even if Zhang Lan was lying in a hospital bed, she did not care. Her parents had spent very little on her growing up. She had worked since finishing junior high, and almost all her earnings had been taken by the family. She already felt she had repaid everything she owed them. Lin Qingxue arrived at the shopping mall ahead of the time she had agreed on with Zhou Shengyan. She had never visited this place before. She was about to buy a drink at a nearby tea bar when another system alert sounded. Ding! Zhou Shengyan bought 2 glasses of orange juice. Host has received 20 glasses of orange juice. Right after the notification, a voice called out to her from behind. Qingxue, I'm here. She turned around and saw Zhou Shengyan walking toward her holding juice cups. Zhou Shengyan quickened her pace and trotted over, handing 1 cup to Lin Qingxue. Here, I just bought these. Lin Qingxue smiled and took it. I was just about to get something to drink too. Hope I haven't kept you waiting. Not at all. I only just got here. That's a relief. I could have come straight from our residential complex with you, but this morning my husband and I had dinner at his parents' place. Afterwards, he headed to his office and dropped me off here by car. I see. No problem. Let's go look around. Let's head straight to the third floor. That's where most of my favorite shops are. Lin Qingxue smiled faintly. You must come here often. Yes, I'm a regular visitor. This is my first time. I've been to other malls, but never this one. I know this place really well. I'll show you around. Holding their juice cups, they took the elevator up to the third floor. Zhou Shengyan explained. This floor is mostly women's clothing and handbags. Jewelry shops are upstairs. We can browse shop by shop as we go higher. All right, I'll follow your lead today. Zhou Shengyan inserted her straw and took a couple of sips. Her gaze fell on the Hermes boutique not far away. Come in with me. I need to buy a bag. Lin Qingxue followed her into the store. Having come to this city, Lin Qingxue had gone shopping more than once, yet she had never felt any particular fondness for handbags. She had already obtained quite a number of handbags from gifts bought by others. For her, it was enough just to have what she needed. Keeping too many at home served no real purpose. Zhou Shengyan, however, thought differently. The moment she stepped into the store, she began looking around intently. The shop assistant greeted her warmly and introduced several new arrival styles. Zhou Shengyan inspected a few of the bags the assistant had recommended. These are quite nice. I already own several Hermes bags at home, but I always come to take a look whenever new styles come out. Lin Qingxue asked, if you have several Hermes bags alone, you must have quite a collection from other brands as well. Zhou Shengyan nodded with a smile. You're absolutely right. One whole wall in my cloakroom is built as a bag cabinet, and it's filled with handbags of all brands. Some of them have been sitting there for so long I barely remember to use them. That just means you have so many you end up spoilt for choice. Exactly. I only carry one each time I go out. Besides, I tend to get tired of old handbags quickly. Once new designs are released, I only want to buy and use the new ones. I lose interest in the older ones. They're hardly worn out, yet their styles no longer catch my eye. Haha. Since money is no issue for you, buy whatever you like. Your own happiness matters most. That's exactly how I see it. Zhou Shengyan picked up one of the bags and examined it. This one is good. I'll take it. It was Lin Qingxue's first time shopping with her, and she could see how decisive Zhou Shengyan was. She did not hesitate much over things she liked and bought them on the spot. Lin Qingxue could well understand this. People with plenty of money naturally did not agonize over purchases. After picking out the first bag, Zhou Shengyan browsed around the store again and soon set her sights on another one. Lin Qingxue stood nearby as payment was made. Just for those two bags, over 2 million was spent. Ding! Zhou Shengyan has purchased 2 Hermes handbags. Congratulations, host, you have received 20 Hermes handbags. Even though she had received many rewards before, Lin Qingxue's heart still skipped a beat when this reward arrived. 2 bags cost more than 2 million, so 20 would be worth over 20 million. Happily holding her shopping bags, Zhou Shengyan checked that Lin Qingxue had nothing she wanted to buy, then left the boutique together with her. Let's head to other stores. We don't get out often today. I'm not going home until my legs are worn out. I'm with you all the way. Haha, that's what I wanted to hear.